All right. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Afternoon. All righty. All right. It is May 19th, 2026, and it is 4 p.m., and I'm going to start the work session. Well, we have a executive session, special executive session agenda. We're going to start with item number 1, which is roll call, please.
Alter,
Here.
Burgess,
Here.
Harmson,
Here.
Mo, Saleh,
Yes. Yeah.
Teague,
Here.
Wyland.
Here.
All right. Well, welcome to everyone. We're going to go to item number 2, which is litigation. Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss strategy with counsel in matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, whereas disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the governmental body in that litigation? Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session?
So moved, Harmson.
Second. Saleh.
Roll call, please.
Burgess.
Yes.
Harmson.
Yes.
Sala.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes?
Wyline.
Yes.
Alter.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. And we'll be back. We're going to go in the,
6.
oh, 6-0. I knew I had to reduce a number.
There was something.
Okay.
All right, we are going to turn on mics. Oh,
Just their next presentation, we're just a little behind on. Of course,
Okay.
we got a few other things.
Oh, can I have a break, you think?
yeah, we'll get out of exec session and then start up regular when ready. Thank you. All right, we are just returning from a closed executive session, and we're back to open session. We're at item number 3. Could I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved, Burgess. Second, Alter.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And we are going to take a pause. Oh, okay. We are ready to go into our next phase of our meeting, which is today is May 19th, 2026. And this is the City of Iowa City's work session. I'm going to call to order. We're going to start with item number 1, which is clarification of agenda items.
I, you say take out one of the consent agenda.
I'll put it somewhere else. Okay. We're gonna always come back to it. You wanna look through?
Okay.
All right, we're going to move on to item number 2, which is information packet discussion, May 7th. And what we're going to do is a separate consideration.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. That's what I want to say.
Let's continue with May 7th.
Okay.
So we have this one, which you would just recuse yourself. We would just do a separate consideration, no big deal.
Because
And then
we
this
have to
one,
pull it out because it's in
yeah,
on the
that's easy.
consent agenda.
Yeah, I can just do that without making
But
a note.
later, because of my time, excuse myself.
Yep.
But that's because it's on the
Got it.
consent agenda.
All right. We'll move on to May 14th.
I just wanted to say shout out to the Human Rights Commission and the Human Rights Department for their annual review. It was a really good read, and I appreciate all of the above and beyond work that they very clearly do, especially with their community engagement, letting people know that they're here and want to help. Yeah.
Yep, I was going to say the same thing, so ditto.
All right. And we'll move on to item number 3, Summit Street Development Update. Well, welcome Tracy Highshoe and team.
And we have a full team tonight. Elissa, do you know if Neil, they're both on? Okay, great. Hi, Tracy Highshoe, Neighborhood Development Services Director. And I want to return to the Summit Street project and the unit mix discussion. So we have a presentation for you. We also have Mark Siebold from Shive Hattery to go over our initial concept. Just a little bit of background. So if you remember the pro-housing, we applied for that in 2023. We went after those federal funds because we identified 4 main barriers to affordable housing.
Hey, Tracy, sorry to interrupt. Can you just go full screen on that so it's a little
Sorry.
easier to see?
My bad.
Thank you.
There you- Does this go up? Goes down. All right. Anyway, we identified 4 barriers to affordable housing, and one of those was local development capacity. In our market, we don't see a lot of affordable housing providers with the size, the capacity, the ability to comply with federal regulations that are building. We have nonprofits that acquire, but very few that will build affordable rental housing. Part of the local development capacity and the pro-housing grant was also giving us, finding the resources to decide how do we develop that development arm within the neighborhood development services. So we are of a size that makes it difficult to have a full-time development manager. While we own 140 city-owned affordable housing, it's relatively small. And so we hired Baker Tilly to provide the expertise that we don't have, especially when we're building new affordable housing. The Baker Tilly is a national firm specializing in securing financing, structuring deals, and supporting affordable housing providers to develop basically housing. So I'm going to introduce the team, our development manager and finance analysts from Baker Tilly, Neil Griffin and Elizabeth Murphy. They are on remotely. We have our architect, Mark Siebold, here tonight to discuss the project. We have onboarded a project attorney that specializes in tax credit financing deals, housing authority projects. And like I said, we provide our own property management. We have decades of experience, and we manage our own properties. And then I've been the lead contact so far for the project. So we got the pro-housing funds in 2023. In 2024, we used our ARPA funds to purchase this land out at North Summit Street. It's the perfect site for our purposes. It was already rezoned. There's no need to rezone it. It's adjacent to downtown. It's walkable, few affordable housing opportunities in surrounding neighborhoods. The transit's right on Dodge. It has neighborhood amenities, grocery store, medical offices, coffee shop. And Shive is with us tonight, and we'll show you the progress we've made to date on initial site concept for you to review. In previous meetings, you wanted to discuss the unit mix, and so we looked at we're proposing 3 unit mixes. The first one was the original unit mix as proposed with anticipated construction costs. Option 2 was equal number of bedroom size, so 12 units, 12 units, 12 units of each bedroom size. And the last one was the same total square footage by bedroom size. Option 2 increased the cost by over $800,000, which makes the pro forma, it's more difficult to finance. Option 3 was close. However, the lack of 3 bedrooms in our payment standards, the difference between rent between a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom is significant, so we don't have as strong as cash flow over the long term with option 3. And what my concern is about keeping construction costs low is because we bid this in March of 2027. I don't know with inflation and rising costs what that will be. We also have to consider that due to the federal funds we have, Davis-Bacon, Section 3, and Build American, Buy American, it's going to raise our construction costs. I just don't know to the degree of what that will be. So we will bid it in March. So tonight, we're asking you to consider the options and finalize the unit mix so that Shive can proceed with design and layout. It was a staff and consultant's recommendation to proceed with option 1, and the next few slides will go over that rationale about why we chose that for the recommendation. So 60% of our population live alone or without children. Families with children represent about 17%. The rest are primarily university students. And Latasha at the Senior Center does a great presentation regarding I think she calls it the gray wave or the silver economy, that 1 in 5 of us will be over the age of 65 in 2040, which seems not believable. Then I realized I'm one of them, so it is coming. So 72% of our households consist of 1 to 2 people, but less than 20% of our available housing units are 1 bedrooms or less. And the public housing, we have 17 1-bedrooms right now. When we go through the repositioning and we go through the RAD section, we will sell 5. We'll sell those 5 Chauncey units, and we hope to make up those 5 units at the North Summit Street project. And when we have a 1-bedroom opening in public housing, we're pulling from applications from 2014, which is unlike larger units, which we're pulling from 21, 22 applications. There's a mismatch between the existing housing stock, even with our own portfolio, and what our population needs. Our development team is working on that appropriate mix. We want to ensure that it's successful. We want to ensure that we know with future projects, we can be more flexible. We can look at opportunities, provide different housing options. But for this project, we want to deliver quality housing for our current needs. We want to address the mismatch we have in our own housing portfolio. And we want to be financially feasible. We don't concentrate on profit, but we do have to have enough to cover expenses, to build reserves, and to maintain the property. Where did this go? So Rachel's going to take you through our vacancy analysis and what happens when people are in wrong size units.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Rachel Carter with the Housing Authority. Like Tracy mentioned, we see a great need for all of our bedroom types, and we know that. We all know that we have a need for every bedroom type. But what we see most consistently in the Housing Authority is that we have a need for one bedrooms. 59% of our Housing Authority constituents, when I say that, I mean the tenants in our 142 city-owned properties, and our Housing Choice Voucher active participants, of which we have 1,593 as of this morning. 59% of which are elderly or disabled, so they qualify for one-bedroom units. I'll skip around here a little bit, but essentially what that means is that they should be leasing up in a unit with a payment standard of $921. Over 50% of them are in wrong size unit. They're overhoused is what HUD would call it, meaning they're having to lease up in 2 bedrooms because they can't find a 1-bedroom unit, or they could choose to find a 2-bedroom, but what happens is then they can end up paying a significant portion of their income to rent. So I looked through our numbers this morning. We have a 1-bedroom voucher holder paying 82% of their income to rent right now. That's the highest amount, 82% of their income to rent, which puts them obviously in great financial stress to pay for other things they need, groceries, gas, transportation, whatever they need. The average our 1-bedroom voucher holders are paying of their income to rent is 46%. So typically we try, the HUD standard is try to get households to be paying 30% of their income to rent. I asked my staff this morning anything they've heard in the last week or so from clients. We have a client who is in their 70s, living in a unit they've been in for 7 years, and the rent increase has gotten to the point where they'll be paying about 70% of their income to rent starting August 1st. They're a retired individual and they had to get a part-time job because they no longer can afford the rent in their housing. They've been searching for another housing unit. They need a 1-bedroom accessible unit and haven't been able to find one over the course of the last 6 months, so they eventually re-signed with the same landlord they have. We have a tenant of ours in one of our units with a voucher who is a young person and has what will ultimately be a terminal chronic illness. And they searched for 11 and a half months for housing that could accommodate their mobility needs with a 1-bedroom voucher before we had an opening and were able to take them. They were living in a unit with stairs and had to pull themselves up by their hands up the stairs to use a restroom. And if we had not had a unit available when we did, I honestly don't know what would have happened to them. It's a stressful situation. We hear it very often. This is the time of year when people are looking for housing in the Housing Authority. We have several people in every day not able to find these units, and the byproduct of what our population looks like is that most often they're looking for 1-bedrooms. That's what we hear the most of. So the vacancy rates you're looking at, this is the Baker Tilly's analysis, a 4.1% vacancy rate for market rate multifamily units, 3.4% vacancy rate for general LIHTC units, and 1.2 for senior units. I don't need to tell all of you, that's a really low vacancy rate, and that's contributing to, is a part of the problem we're talking about, the need we're seeing. And I know that I can only speak to the voucher and public housing households that we serve. However, that is a large percentage of the population of people searching for affordable housing in our jurisdiction. The other thing that I'll say is looking at our wait lists. The wait list is very reflective of that 59% being elderly and disabled. So that will continue for several years. I think our wait list is probably about 5 years long right now for a Housing Choice Voucher. So that's just a little bit about what right-sizing units looks like and what we're seeing as the need for small units. And now I will let Mark from Shive Hattery talk.
Welcome.
Hello, Mark Siebold, Principal Architect with Shive Hattery. Just a little bit of context. We were awarded this a couple months ago. We've been working with staff to develop high-level preliminary design, kind of based on the preferred unit mix that was stated before. But we've also been spending a lot of time looking at North Summit Street and just kind of what the character of the neighborhood is and kind of what's going on there. So, it's mostly single-family homes. There are a few units with an additional apartment. Of course, that is with the exception of the neighbor directly to the north, which is like a 15-plex with multiple buildings. Most of the residences up and along Summit Street are at least 3 bedrooms or more. And I was really surprised, over half are over 100 years old. In fact, the oldest one is on the property just to the north of this one. Just looking a little bit at parking, which is something that we're looking at, there's parking along just the west side of the street only, so street parking is a little bit limited there. But just a little bit of context for the area and what we were dealing with, what that looks like. This was the original diagram, more of a test fit than an actual layout for the buildings, but this was what was Baker Tilly had come up with, just to kind of vet out what's the square footage look like for a 36 apartment unit building with this unit mix. What could the parking be? So this shows kind of a large L-shaped building up against, call it the northwest corner of the site. I think the intent was still to kind of scale the building down along North Summit to like a 2-story scale, and then have more of a 3-story building in the back, just to kind of relate to the context and the scale of the neighborhood. But what we did is we took this concept and, again, looking at that unit mix that matched the budget that was established and then the city needs that Rachel just came up with. And we looked at actually pulling the building apart a little bit. So we'd like to do, or what we're proposing is to do 2 separate 3-unit, 3-bedroom buildings along Summit Street. So those would be more neighborhood scale. They'd reflect the number of bedrooms that are typical within the area. By doing that, we would decrease the circulation square footage within it, and we could have front porches and front doors along the street. And again, those can start to promote street life and neighborhood connection. And we can use that smaller scale unit to have the design of those buildings be more inspired by the historic homes along the neighborhood. What it also does then is we can reduce the 36-unit building to a 30-unit building. We've ended up putting that more on the eastern side of the property, kind of behind these residences. It makes that building smaller, has less impact on the neighborhood and the neighbors to the north. And actually, that if you've walked the site, it has some really, really nice views to the east and to the south. There's a lot of mature trees and things like that between the between St. Joseph Cemetery and that site. Rachel mentioned the need for mobility. All the buildings are meant to be mobility friendly. We would have at-grade entrances from the parking area. Even the townhomes along Summit Street would have an accessible bathroom and bedroom on the lower level and then 2 bedrooms above. The larger building would be 3 stories, but it would have elevators, and we would be designing those units to be accessible units. We have located the entrance drive from the south portion of the site in the initial diagram up to the north, just trying to ease that up closer to the Dodge Street connection, because we see that's probably the most logical place most people would be coming in and out of the site, up to the connection there at Dodge and Summit where the traffic light is. And we've been able to increase the parking to 50 parking spaces, so that's about 1.38 per unit for the development. It also allows us to concentrate our stormwater. The site kind of grades from the middle down to the southwest corner and the northeast corner. So we've been able to establish some pollinator gardens, some bioswales that would be nice as a neighborhood amenity along Summit Street, or at least a view shed, as well as kind of a native retention area that we could put some trails or something into as an amenity for the development. And then, of course, in between the buildings, we would have a activated courtyard space for the residents of the project. Any questions on any of that? Again, high level, this is just kind of our initial glimpse. The square footage of these buildings is less than the square footage that was envisioned with the initial scheme. So we're hoping that by being sensitive to that and trying to scale everything down and make everything more compact with less common area, we can help control the budget.
How many stories was the apartment? Was that 2 stories, or did you say? Maybe I
It's
missed
3
it.
stories. That would be a 3-story. And again, that's why we're kind of tucking it back in the back.
Sure.
And that's what was proposed initially as well.
I just want to go back to the cost. I see when we said the cost is going to go by 1 million if we have 12. Of course it's going to be, because we are increasing. We're doing the same amount of 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. But I think last time when we talk about this, we don't have to, if we want to do like more 2 bedroom, we don't have to have 36 unit. Because if we took like 2 bedroom from the 18, that's like equal to 1 bedroom for the two-bedroom apartment. And now, the cost should definitely reduced if we use the same square feet. You understand me? Like the same square feet that we're going to fit 18, 6, and 12, and change it to 6, like 8-bedroom maybe, like 8 two-bedroom apartment, and 12 one-bedroom, but use the same square feet. We are building the same square feet. We are saving 1 bathroom extra because we, like the 2-bedroom still have one bathroom, but two 1-bedroom have 2 bathroom. So I think the way that is being presented right now is like, oh, we're gonna do like everything equal, but we are expanding the area. Because if I put 12 two-bedroom, 12, it will be expanding. We still have 36 units. That means we're gonna build more area, and that's why the cost went up. And I don't think that's what we asked last time. We asked us the same area to be like reducing the 1-bedroom, converted to 2-bedroom.
Okay, I'll let, Neil, are you on?
Yes,
He was
I
the
am
one
on.
that
Can
was
you all
running
hear
through
me?
numbers with those different scenarios, Boss.
Yes, can you all hear me?
Yes, welcome.
Great, thank you. Yeah, if I'm not sure if I can't see the screen, but if you could maybe put up those few options that are on the screen for option 1, option 2, and option 3. Yes. So option 1 is the original one. Option 3 is that is equal square footage. So when you look at like 16 1-bedrooms, 11 2-bedrooms, 9 3-bedrooms, that is an equal square footage distributed into 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 for each of those. The reason, and you can see that the cost there, it is a cost increase for that, but it's more marginal than the equal distribution between the numbers. The reason why we're proposing to not move forward with this is really 2 reasons. The first is that we're able to collect more rent and have more sources and revenue for 3-bedroom units on a square footage basis for the different units, and so increasing the number of 3 bedrooms will allow us to make the project pencil a little bit more. Also, that helps to have room for families and room for, and as Mark mentioned, having those townhouses along the street, really get the community to engage with this project and really become intertwined within the existing neighborhood context. We think that's really important. And then also moving in, having a couple extra units on the 1-bedroom too helps to alleviate the need that Tracy and Rachel really talked about for not just the need within the housing authority, but also the need within Iowa City in general, and where that market study shows how the population's moving to and evolving. Having more 1-bedrooms that are, if not fully accessible, mobility friendly, as Mark mentioned, where you have an at-grade entrance, you can have people that might not be limited mobility or like in a wheelchair, but maybe still just need an elevator building. Maybe stairs are difficult, right? And so by being able to provide that unit mix within this context, we think we're solving both of these problems really effectively by giving the housing authority a really strong footing that they can build on and meet their existing need, and then also making the project work and intertwining with the existing community and neighborhood context.
I think you just said the same thing. I never asked to change the 12 unit of 3-bedroom because we need that there. And all I said is changing from the 18, at least 2 unit to make extra, like 7 maybe 2-bedroom. And when you talk about the needs, because I'm with you for number 3. We all agree that we need them maybe for the cost and for like income-wise. But when it comes to the 18, we talked last time, they also present what the housing authority needs is, because you are looking at the group that you see every day. As a community member who see another group, you don't know anything about them, who are double up, who have a lot of children, they cannot find 2-bedroom. I know a lot. I can give you a data of people that you never saw anything or you don't know anything about them. They don't have any record anywhere because they did not apply for Section 8. And while we caring about the population they are in the waiting list right now, we have to care about the people who don't even have chance to be in the waiting list. I think this have to be like, we need to take all the needs, not only the people who are in the housing authority, the people that I see every day, the people that I work with every day, and the people who are double up. Is Kitchum Vos and Johnson County report that they have 2 years ago. It's shown how many people are double up, each like for when it comes to immigrants people. That's why, I think we need all the kind. And if we want to do something here, we need to do equity. We need to do for people who need 1-bedroom. We need to do for the people who 2-bedroom and the people who need 3-bedroom. If the city is doing something, it has to be for everyone. Not because the housing authority is showing that. And my understanding also about the housing authority, the way that is structured is more 1-bedrooms and less 2 and 3. That the structure, even when the people apply to become in the waiting list. That's the structure of the housing authority. That's why you always going to see the people who apply for 1-bedroom is way more than other people because that's what it is. Anyway, I really
Counselor,
feel,
I think it's
Counselor.
really important. But just if I could just call attention to something that Tracy mentioned as well, this is really the first step, right? This is the pilot project for this initiative. And they have a really long wait list of people that need the 1-bedrooms, and this could just be the first step, right? I think it could be really important to kind of frame this project as we need to make this project successful right from the start, and prove that this works, and that in the future we can evaluate and be experimental and find different ways that we can meet additional needs for the community. But this is a really, I think the first step here is really important to solve the existing housing authority's needs. And then as we develop and get through to different projects, that we can readdress broader needs and broader initiatives.
But I don't think we have this project. Guys, if I'm wrong, correct me. Do we have this project because of housing authority? To meet the housing authority needs when we come up with this project?
You're asking what was the,
Because he said, let us meet the housing authority need, because we did this to meet the housing authority needs. And I think we did this to meet the affordable housing needs in the community. We did this.
When we applied for the pro-housing grant, it was specifically to bolster the capacity of the housing authority.
I wasn't know that. It's still, we don't have to. We don't have to. Still we can, it's not something that we have to do it. We can do it, we can try to fulfill their need as much as we can, in the same time, meet the need of the rest of the community.
Rachel, I think you were speaking to, because I've been thinking about this as well, especially when it comes to folks, like you were saying, it's not people who, a large number of people that aren't even visible on, say, the waiting list and stuff like that. You were talking about how these projects could potentially open up existing 2-bedrooms because of the people that were overhoused. Just, can you run that through for me again?
Yeah, essentially, 50% of our one-bedroom voucher holders are in 2-bedroom units right now. So when they are able to move into 1-bedroom units, that frees up that 2-bedroom in the community. Just to make sure that we kind of push through our slides quickly, but 60% of Iowa City's population live alone or without children. So that's not a housing authority statistic. That's Iowa City generally.
It say here, Iowa.
You had mentioned that 50% of single voucher holders were living in a double slot, but I think there was another data here somewhere too that mentioned of that 50%, some of them had roommates and some didn't. Is that correct? Well, do you remember what the?
So what that is a portion of our one-bedroom voucher holders go to tenants who are living in shared housing, usually with agencies that are assisting them due to disabilities.
Sure.
And so if we take them into account, it's 40% are
That's
wrong
right.
sized.
That's what it was.
However, it skews it because they're not wrong sized. It just happens to be they have a one-bedroom voucher and are in shared housing.
Sure.
So if we take the shared housing occupants out that are living with, Caring Hands or Systems or Mayor's Youth, then it's 50% of the one-bedroom voucher holders outside of the people who are utilizing shared housing for supportive services.
Got it. So.
But also, like, when the housing authority is Johnson County, is not Iowa City.
Correct. We're Johnson, Iowa, and Washington counties.
Yeah, that's why this is not, I don't know, how the data is reflecting Iowa City. Specifically, how many is Iowa City?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head specifically Iowa City.
Okay, yeah, we're talking about like Johnson County here.
Yeah.
I just want to just mention that.
The housing authority statistics are Johnson, Iowa, and Washington counties, and
Even Washington
73% of our voucher holders live in Iowa City.
When I think about option 2, the one with just the 12, 12, 12, that was option 2, right? Do we think that there would be an increased revenue because of the larger number of the 3 and the 2 bedrooms, or the large number of the 2 bedrooms, or would it be about equal? Or could that make up for the overall costs?
I'll probably let Baker Tilly chime into that because they've been handling our pro forma largely.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. That's a great question. And yes, when you're looking at the operating pro forma, the addition of 2 and 3 bedroom units definitely creates more revenue for the project. However, it also increases the construction costs. I think it was mentioned before, as you increase square footages and have different unit configurations, that has an impact on overall costs. And we're obviously very aware of how costs have increased in construction, especially over the last couple of years. So that would be the trade-off with doing the 12, 12, 12 configuration, would be that the construction costs would go up.
Can you tell me exactly how many square feet for the 12, 12, 12 that it will be built?
Neil, do you know the answer to the square footage question?
The square footage is I think it's about 42,000 square feet, which would be about 2,000 more than we were planning.
42,000 what?
So you'd be increasing at the 12, 12, 12. You'd be increasing somewhere in the ballpark of 5 to 8% of the square footage of the building.
I can't hear you.
You'd be, for the 12, 12, 12, you're going to be increasing the square footage about 5 to 8%.
5 to 8% increasing the square footage.
Correct.
And that exactly we did not ask for that last time.
No, you asked for option 3. We told you we would come back with multiple options to give
Not
you an
option
idea.
3. I asked for option 1. The same square. What the square feet for option 1, please?
What? So option one square footage is 39,000.
39,000. Could we do 39,000 and do 16 one bedroom and 7 two bedroom?
It would be 8 two-bedroom.
No, 7.
I think maybe the difference is Counselor Saleh was saying in our last meeting, we might lose a unit or two.
From one bedroom,
Right.
but we increase two bedroom.
But I think this is, each one of these scenarios is 36 total units, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
but we don't have to, if we, you understand, like.
That's my question, is like, I think before when you were talking about it, maybe it's 34 units instead of 36. Is that, if we,
No, it was 36.
okay.
But we cannot be 36 if we use the same 3,900 square feet and
Just to-
build like the same numbers here. We cannot like have the same number of the unit.
Right.
That's what, we will be less by 2 units. Instead of 36, it will be 34.
Which we don't have that in front of us. But I think that's what you were talking about the last time was, what if it's 34 units and have it be
Because I don't
16
want to
one
increase the
bedroom?
cost.
And
Increasing
yeah.
5% to 8%, that's will increase the cost. And if we increase the cost, of course, we're going to say no because we're increasing the cost. My like suggestion was keep the same square feet, keep the same distance because, I thought that cost will be reducing because we are losing, like we don't need to build like additional bathroom, and that will be like by itself, like not expensive.
Just an FYI, we've presented to HUD that we will do 36 units. The funding agreement that you see tonight with the Housing Trust Fund is for 36 units. And with the performa, when you reduce units, the amount of money you get for a whole unit as opposed to the increase of like a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom does not make up long-term. Our financial cash position is not as strong, and Elizabeth can talk to that, but 34 units is a less strong cash position than 36 units, even if you have a different unit mix in there. So Elizabeth can answer the questions regarding that. But we have presented to HUD and to everyone that we'll be doing 36 units.
You mean you cannot do 37, you cannot do 35?
We can't do 37 because the zoning, we're maxed out with 36 units. That's the reason why we're not going higher. Mark was hoping that we could get 39 units. That's a much easier argument to HUD and to different parties to go more units than less units. But we maxed out the zoning, right, with 36. So 36 is our cap. And I'm just saying to the funding, our environmental review, our ARPA, our pro-housing funds, we've presented it as 36 units. And like I said, the agreement that you reviewed tonight for the Housing Trust Fund is 36 units, 24 at 50%, 12 at 30% median income. I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, then we can go with the 12, 12, 12. That's what I think.
Hold on.
We still have money on our housing trust fund. Sorry, we have money on the, now it's time we can talk.
Oh, you mean for the amendment in July?
Whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah. I actually had a question, just going, zoning back a little bit. As I'm recalling, this was mixed housing of both, not everybody would have vouchers, is that correct? I mean, because that, or is this that it would be primarily all let me rephrase it. Is it that voucher holders are prioritized? Is that what I remember, or does not? That's not?
Not prioritized, but we have to allow voucher holders. We
Right.
can't hold back tenancy from them because of the HUD funding attached.
Yes.
Right, okay.
And how it ends up happening with how people apply for affordable
Yeah.
housing, we will have probably a significant portion of voucher holders in there, just because it's so difficult to find a
Right.
unit in the payment standards.
So just in a purely logistical sense, how likely is it if, in fact, with the waiting list and the number of voucher holders, that people who aren't voucher holders would even be able to get in? That's
No,
kind of
it
my
will.
question. Because at the same time, it's like we want this to be equitable and that we will hit for the residents and the families that are not even accounted for within being voucher holders. In some ways, if I'm understanding this right, that's actually a theoretical argument because we have to rent to voucher holders, and we have such a long list of voucher holders that the apartments are going to be taken by voucher holders. Am
No,
I
we open it
missing
for
something?
voucher for geriatrics.
We open it for them, but if the
But it's
list is
not
that
for
long.
everyone,
Yeah, we open it up for everyone,
but including voucher holder.
including. But if the list is that long, isn't the likelihood that it will be filled by primarily voucher holders?
I think that we'll have I feel very confident saying a majority of voucher holders. After a majority, I'm not sure how it might pan out, but.
No, I completely agree. I do not want to segregate people. I want it open for all. I'm saying that the likely actuality of being able to get families in who aren't voucher holders, what is the likelihood of them being able to get in?
Unless they don't have, I think you don't have to discriminate. You open it to everyone. Do you have priority? You prioritize? You asked her that question and she said no.
Okay, asked and answered.
Is there a way to prioritize right sizing units? If someone is in a 2-bedroom that really could be in a 1-bedroom, is there a way to have that as a preference?
I think I would want to consult with the city attorney's office about where we're landing with fair housing on that. We'd probably have to think through that a little bit.
Because, go right ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say I would have to look into that. I don't have an answer on the fly for that.
Familial status is a protected class, but we would have to look into it.
What kinds of criteria, excuse me, Rachel, what kinds of criteria do we use when so we get all these applicants for the units? What kinds of criteria do we use to decide who we rent to?
Sure. One, let me say that this is going to be a unique experience because we've never opened 36 units or however many units it is at one time. So we'll probably look for additional guidance when we get closer on how we want to do that and think about what makes the most sense. Also, for our staff's purpose, leasing 36 people at one time, 36 households is it's a task. So typically we request at least one landlord reference. We make allowances often if there's a reason. There are extenuating circumstances so often with a landlord reference. It could be, I owned a home and I lost it in foreclosure. We recently had that. Or if somebody's been unhoused for a while, they don't have a landlord reference. We're very amenable to that. We typically screen for any violent crimes in the last 5 years. And our tenant selection plan says that we're amenable to an appeal if somebody believes they have extenuating circumstances. We're very open to what those are. Our goal is to be provide as few barriers as possible for tenants and also ensure the safety and health of our tenants in neighboring units.
Thank you.
So I guess the question is for this council is which option so that staff can move forward with next phases of this.
I have another question. There's one thing that does, worry me is I think we all want to do this as soon as possible, but as responsibly as possible. Do we think that doing like the option 2 or option 3, whatever, as opposed to the original mix-up could potentially push anything back or make us go back to the drawing board in any way and
Delay.
Yeah.
The problem with option 2 is you're talking about right off the bat increasing our construction expenses by $800,000. So we have to find $800,000 as a gap, or you have to increase rent. We have pro-housing ARPA funds, so we can't increase rent because we're at the maximum rent. Option 3, it's not as significant. I would like to see for the pro forma for long-term financial viability, more 3-bedrooms. But Elizabeth, can you add anything regarding the financial?
I think you summarized it pretty well, Tracy. Anytime we increase cost, even if it's nominal, it means we need to find a balance of sources for those costs. So it is a challenge whenever costs increase for whatever reason. And I also agree that reducing the 3 bedrooms and would impact the long-term viability of the project. Just looking at the fair market rent difference between a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom is about $400 a month less in rent. So that would be another consideration.
What's a big concern for me is this is unique. We're not a private developer who can increase rent, so we have to budget accordingly, and we have to hope. Like I said, what I'm concerned about is when we bid this in a year, I don't know how much costs will go up. I don't know. We've had BAB on only one project, and that raised costs by about 30%. I don't know what will happen in a year. So to me, I'm looking for the lowest construction costs possible. Pro housing, we have to have this project done by 2029. And so it's not like we can keep going back for bids in more favorable climate. So to me, option 1 and 3 are more viable, but for long-term financial viability, I like the 3 bedrooms. Does that answer your question?
Well, I mean, that answers a lot of questions. But in terms of delay, I think that was more of what I'll look at, because I think currently we're estimating 2027 construction, correct?
Oh, no. We are looking, we had one slide that we didn't get to. So what happens is that we want to hope we get the unit mix now so that Shive Hattery can start on that unit mix site layout. They can proceed with their design. We'll have that neighborhood meeting in June, probably mid-June. We'll come back to you guys regarding the final site layout, what it looks like, and then Shive will start their final, what do you call it, final design? Construction documents. We will bid it out in March of 2027. So all this going, and you'll get the plans and specs before we bid it out, but if we need to know things earlier than later, because otherwise it keeps increasing our costs and more design time, more engineering time, more.
Yeah.
So we were hoping that we could get the unit mix tonight, and then we come back with like, is that layout, is that the layout you want? Is that the layout that the neighborhood, what feedback we get? We're trying to be as sensitive to neighborhood demands. We want to be a good neighbor, so this is what we propose so far. But that will come back to you in July after we've had that neighborhood meeting. But the unit mix, because Mark's staff is starting to design those buildings and what the floor layout looks like and what the, correct?
Can you remind me the area median income that you said you're going to be using?
I brought that. So 50%, 24 of the units have to be people below 50% of median income. So a household size of 1 as of 6/126 can make up to $42,500. 12 have to be below 30%, so a household size of 1 has to make below $25,500. Those are the maximum. We typically, we don't just get people at the maximum, we get all ranges.
I'm sorry, Tracy, can you repeat that second part? Was it under 40 or 30?
30%.
12.
So 12 have to be under 30, and that's $25,500 for a single person. For a family of 4, that's $36,400, and $60,700 for a family at 50%. Those are our maximums.
You mean the max is 50%?
Yeah.
For this building?
For 24 of the units, 50% median income is the max. For 12 of the units, 30%.
Yes. That means the max also is 50 for the whole building?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. That's really good. And, yeah, it's time for discussion.
How would we feel about, or I guess I should ask if we are able to do this first. When it comes to the multi-bedroom units, are we able to say these are going to be the units that are this type of income? And if that would make us feel better about different families having more, like the lowest income families having more access to the multiple bedrooms. Does that make sense, Tracy?
I hate to say this again, but I think I'd once again have to defer to the city attorney's office to think about where we're at, if that is having a disparate impact on a larger family and familial status is a protected class.
Okay.
I would certainly leave that to them.
Probably not.
Okay.
Okay. If we want to discuss this, since I'm the one who brought this to begin with, I think we should go with 12, 12, 12, because I feel like we need more houses anyway, and the more we have is good. and the cost that's like 1 million, I think, extra. I think we can figure out that. We just spent $5 million. We loan whatever, $5 million we agreed to do that for the riverfront crossing, which is not even near affordable. And now, $9 million, we're looking for 36 bedroom. I think we can add that money over there to make it like from the affordable housing money we agree to approve next month.
She's only looking
next
at me.
Fiscal year. Yeah, that's what we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
And I can look at everyone. And I think we can make it, and we can add it to this, and we can make it 12 unit each, if the money is the problem. And I don't think the money should be the problem, because if we can do $5 million on something that even not affordable, we should do this too.
I have a question just about the difference between the construction costs and the operating costs as far as our pro forma. Do we have a sense of how long we would expect it to take to recoup the additional $800,000? Because having more of the 2-bedroom.
Not off the top of my head, unless Elizabeth. how long
Yeah,
does it
it's a good question. I think it's less about recouping and more about what our debt service is. So the ability to pay off the loan, like if we have a permanent loan, for example, the ability to pay off the permanent loan in the short term. So, I think anytime you make adjustments to the unit mix, and especially if there's less revenue generated from rents, it impacts the loan sizing. So in this case, if we were to seek a permanent loan, it would just impact the numbers as far as like how long it would take to pay off, and just the general loan sizing.
Just to follow up, and maybe this was answered and I just didn't track it, but the unit mix of option 2 is actually less annual revenue than option 1?
No, it's not less revenue
Okay.
than option 1. It's more expensive as far as construction.
So the operating pro forma for option 2 is less favorable still because of the debt service?
Correct. So like the option 2 would require us to seek a higher perm loan potentially, which would make our debt higher. So we would just have to look at our debt service.
Can you just explain how will make us like seek more loan because of the difference of the construction cost?
Right. So the sources that we have from the city are finite. So there are set amounts that we've put into the pro forma. So any gap that we would have after those identified sources would have to be serviced by some sort of permanent loan.
Is that for operation or for construction?
For construction. And then when you have your permanent loan, when you put it into your operating pro forma, you have to have a certain amount of debt service
Exactly.
or revenue to pay down the loan.
But if the city paid that, the difference, and you end up by the same amount of loan, you're gonna put the same number on the pro formas. I don't think that's gonna increase anything.
The question is like how much we're putting down rather than compared to how much we're borrowing.
Right now, some of our funding sources are prospective, right? We have, maybe we'll get workforce housing tax credits, maybe we won't. Maybe we'll be able to sell the Chauncey units for the dollar amount that we think we can get and put that into the project. Maybe we won't. And even with those two revenue sources, we're still showing and lost, I should add, even with the loss that we've indicated that we would share, we're still showing a gap that we're going to have to figure out. So that's something that we're going to have to work in the next budget cycle on to determine, are we going to go and get a commercial loan? Are we going to go and bond for additional monies for this project, or what other strategies may be available? So we don't have those sources, all of those sources locked down tightly right now. When you increase the construction costs, you're just increasing the risk of having to take out a greater size loan.
The construction cost for the first option is 8,700,000, and the construction for the second one is 9,500,000. What I'm saying, if we bait the city, like from the wherever after we talked about it and we agree, if we can pay the difference from the affordable housing money, that will be is not there is no difference. You're gonna start with the same 8,700,000.
So I'm not sure what funding source you're thinking about right now.
Right now, I'm not thinking about anything, but I'm saying if we secure the difference between the first cost, which is 8,700,000, and the second cost, which is 9.5. That means you're going to end up starting with 8.7, which is it's not going to change the performers. You know, you're going to plug the same numbers. You're going to plug everything as the same, and the outcome will become the same.
Like, you're assuming a scenario, I think, if I'm understanding correctly, you're just taking like general fund reserves and putting them into the project.
Yes.
Okay.
Assuming, okay? And that means we're going to end up with the same 8.7 million when we plug our numbers. This way, nothing is changing, and we have more units, bigger units.
It's just the opportunity cost of that 800,000 that you're taking from the general fund?
I don't know. I just don't want to talk publicly about that right now because we did not agree to anything. I'm saying if a scenario for now.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about what's before us. There's a lot to be said with how much time this council has between now and, the 30 more minutes. If we're going to make a decision now, if we're going to send the staff back, if we don't go with one of these mixtures. I thought I heard at one point, Councilor Salar, you mentioned that, it would be 2 bedrooms at 7 units and then 1 bedroom at 16 units, which I believe it would be 16 units, 1 bedroom, and then 8 units, 2 bedrooms, and then the 12 3-bedroom units. I think if I'm looking at this and we're looking at, the actual money that has to be spent for 36 units, a mix of it, while I would love to, continue the conversation, send staff back to kind of recreate something, option 2 for me just doesn't sit well in this moment. And if we're going to do any other mixture of even changing up the units in option 1,
because we cannot, because we need 36 units. But if you can just elaborate a little bit about why this is not sitting well with you, because of the different price or the cost?
Yeah, it's. I mean, you have the same number of units, and you're going, from,
Biggest unit, we can put more people there. We can house more people, individual in the community.
30. So these are 36 equals a bedroom. So
Yeah.
they're all a bedroom. So
No,
30.
this is 2-bedroom unit.
Am I correct that a unit is a bedroom?
No.
So 36 units. So
Not 36 bedroom.
You mean how many bedrooms in each mix?
yes, so explain. So 2-bedroom units, is that 6 2-bedroom units with two beds in it, which
Yeah.
means it's 12 bedrooms?
Yeah. And then 3-bedroom, 12 units, that's 30,
If my
36
math
bedrooms,
looks
right?
Times
On-demand math in front of the people is not my
I think
strength.
I've got 66
36
bedrooms,
36
option
rooms in
1.
here.
76 for unit
36
two.
room will be.
Okay.
It'll be an increase in 10 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So we're not, okay.
10 beds.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah,
All right.
you house more people, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Okay.
I think one of the things that I'm struck by, because, and it was, thank you, Councilor Burgess, and then also as a reminder for what we had talked about and what you had brought up as a possibility in the last working session, then earlier tonight before the 36 unit for HUD and for the pro forma were put in place, that you were suggesting taking away two of the one-bedroom units and then increasing one two-bedroom unit, right? Which is not far off from option one. And so at the same time that were you saying let's house as many people as possible with the 12 units? I think that given that staff hasn't even been able to see what the growth cap has done, what the property tax cuts have done, we have been signaled that it's not looking good. And I am committed to that we will look for an affordable housing reserve, that we will talk about at a future date. But I'm uncomfortable with saying that we'll take almost $1 million out of our general fund to go with option two, when in addition, when we are so close to actually one of the options that you actually suggested by saying, let's have 16 one-bedroom, 7 two-bedroom, and then I like very much having the larger number of 3-bedroom units. To me, that seems, it's compromise. It's not perfect, but it's also doable. It comes in at the cost that makes sense, that has been kind of potentially has been planned for. So I'm thinking that this seems to me, it's not perfect, but it is close to something that you yourself had actually suggested at one
Which
point.
one?
Option one.
Option one is the same thing, as they brought it last time.
Right, and you suggested
I was
earlier.
supposed it to be half, half, half. This one, that was my suggestion last time. So we do equity to have 12, 12, 12.
Right.
But right now, because of the cost, when I saw
Yes.
the cost, I said, okay, what about this? And they said, let have to be 36 unit.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no,
this
I
way,
do.
I think like adding more money to this project, and we being holding $5 million for a long time, and now we already give it to like a project that not, we can do the same thing from the reserve, have $1 million to add it to this one.
No, I understand the proposal. I just, at the moment, $1 million from our general fund seems scary to me.
That's what I think I've been talking to.
we
the
don't
city
even know if-
manager. I've been talking to all of you about if we're gonna give a developer in Riverfront Crossing $5 million from the affordable housing that's supposed to be built in Riverfront Crossing, we should match it somehow.
Yes,
and
but
I've
we
been
haven't
told
gotten
we
there
can do
yet.
that from the reserve.
Can I provide an additional piece of information? In all of our city-owned units that are 2 bedrooms, we do not have a single household that is more than one person. We can't limit a minimum number of tenants moving into a unit. So regardless of what the unit mix looks like, if a single person has the income and meets the requirements to rent a 2-bedroom there, we can't say they cannot rent a 2-bedroom. Or vice versa, if it's 2 people and they want to rent the 3-bedroom, we cannot say you're not a big enough household to live in this unit. So I suspect my inclination would be, regardless of how many the 1s versus 2s are, that we'll have single people in those, because that's who we have apply the most often. So I just wanted to provide that feedback that we're not able to say it has to be a minimum number of people in a unit.
Yeah, I think
That you have to
not
say-
knowing that piece of information, I think that would have been helpful to understand. And then I thought we were talking somewhere between 30 and 36 units. So the fact that we have to do 36 was new to me tonight. I don't know if that
same.
was
Me too.
decided previously, but.
Because last time I think also Jeff, when I talked to you, say, yeah, it can be 32 or something like that. That's why it's just like,
It's, sorry, were you going to say something?
I was going to comment on that, but it's probably not.
Oh, no, I mean, I think that when it comes to all the funding sources for this, I think that there's quite a few strings attached. I do worry because the success of the development arm is like extraordinarily important to me. And feasibility of like an initial project and success of an initial project is very important to the willingness to continue down said path. And when it comes to building, like, let's say this is successful and everybody loves it and we get good revenue and it increases our capability in the future, we can have projects that have less strings attached because we have grown our individual capacity as a city to be able to make those things. So we won't have all of these things like, well, we can't go down to 36 because we applied to these million places, or we can do this type of bedroom, or we can have our own criteria that doesn't have to meet HUD criteria if we have our own capability. And that's really hard for me because, this is just two sides of a coin that is like extremely important to me, and there's also a lot of new information today, like you were saying, Laura, that, it makes me want to think about it more, talk with more people one-on-one. I don't know. It's just a lot to take in initially and just make a decision after talking about it for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. You know what I
to
mean?
have more flexibility, we need to use general fund.
Yeah.
That's the more flexibility. But if we're always cautious of using the general fund for like affordable housing, then we're not going to do anything. As either we have to bond or we have to use general fund.
Oh,
So
I'm with
it's
you.
flexible.
Yeah.
So what kind of timeline are we under? I know that there is a need to apply for the LIHTC by a certain date.
Yeah, we want to apply for workforce housing tax credit. We have to identify the number of units. We can amend. We can talk to HUD and go lower. It just takes time. We can talk to the Housing Trust Fund and see if we could go lower. It just takes time. But if we want to meet the timeline, we're approaching the June 10th workforce housing tax credit date. And that's about $700,000 worth of funds for us if we get it. So it just pushes everything back. It pushes Shive because they need to start working on their design. So it just delays.
I really would like to recommend that not to make a decision tonight and maybe next meeting.
I had a few thoughts too. I just kind of like to share as I process through, because I've just been kind of listening. First thing, if we have approval for 36 units and that's on track, I don't want to screw with that. Like I don't think there's anything to be gained by reducing that number and having to go back to HUD or anything else. I think if we've got something moving forward with that number, I'm okay. I feel like we should just leave that alone.
You have a funding agreement tonight for 36 units with the Housing Trust Fund.
Right, and so I think that to me is, yes.
You'd have
And
to talk
so
to her.
That to me, that's, I mean, 36 as a total, I think that's not worth going back and amending right now.
No, that was not.
The one thing I think I really appreciate what Councilor Sully has been talking about in trying to look at the most number of beds for the most people housed, right? I think that's really good. I'm really intrigued. One of the notes I took earlier on was like, the discussion about data that we're not able to capture through our normal data collection, and I just like to put a pin in that idea of like to circle back at some time. How do we capture that data in a way that we can be confident of that, and what are the problems of that? So I think that's a different topic, but I think it's really important, and it's one that once it was laid out makes sense, right? So I think that's really important. So to me, as I'm kind of like listening to all of this, and I think that the 10-bed difference for $1 million or $800 to $1 million is kind of what I'm trying to balance out in my mind. And so, but then knowing that that 10-bed difference isn't necessarily 10 beds, which we just found out. It might be, some of those beds might not be actually in those 2 bedrooms, right? If we want with the additional 6 2-bedrooms. So not all of those would necessarily be filled. So that takes down some of that value. And then mitigating, not really taking away the value, but mitigating is if we have the 18 single beds, and that's pulling people that would, as we said, there's a chunk of people that have got they're they only need 1 bed, but they're in a double unit, but that would give them somewhere to go, and that would then open up some units. So maybe we're not talking about, at the end of the day, when everything goes into practice, we might not be talking about actually 10 more beds available. The benefit might be something less than that in terms of like total beds that are filled to fill the affordable housing. So as I think of that, it's somewhere south of that. And then Councilor Wyline's comments too of like, there is a real value in making sure that this succeeds. So we can then continue to like say, okay, this is a proven concept, we can continue to go, and maybe we can then push that envelope a little bit harder each time after all the people up here, and I think a lot of the people in this room, we're already the true believers on the affordable housing and the need for this. But as we can show ourselves to be more successful, I think there's value in that and spreading that and convincing more and more people who maybe are on the fence to continue to join and support. So I think as I balance through that, if we're going to look at, if we do need to give some direction tonight, I'm strongly leaning towards the 18-6-12, the option 1. But I think, for those reasons, I think there's a lot to be said for what Councilor Silly has been saying and identifying particular kinds of need. I think if we end up going with the 18-6-12 as a council, we absolutely don't forget that and keep that in mind if we are able to move forward. So that's kind of what I've been processing over the last hour. So now Mr. Mayor, it's up to you if we want to move forward from that or how the council wants to do, or if we want to wait another meeting. I just want to throw those thoughts out there for everyone to sort of digest.
Sean, you were talking about a 10-bedroom difference. I think my math is probably wrong, but I got...
Could be 2. I was penciling quick.
Okay, I got 66 bedrooms under the first option,
1.
72 under the second.
But did I do it wrong? Oh, okay.
And 65 under the third.
24.
Oh, okay. I may have...
12 plus 6.
So the difference is 6 bedrooms, I think, between 1 and 2.
Oh, 6 bedrooms, and then it's possibly less than 6. Based on the rationale that I'm using, kind of that I laid out. And
6 bedroom, you're talking about 1 bed in the room.
I mean, you could have.
And no, when we say family, of course it's not 1 bed. Maybe the 1 room is 1 bed, but the 2 room is at least they have 2 children. Sometimes they have 4 children in bunk beds.
Yeah.
You always can fit more people when the apartment is larger. And I'm going to just go to the next senior and next regular, which is LIHTC program, and see which bedroom frequency are not being, rented is a 1 bedroom. There is a lot of one, even though some of them are affordable. One of them, we just find somebody for it. It was only 600 something, 1 bedroom, because it's 30% of the area median income. When I say we need more, because all the time we can find in the community 1 bedroom is available, but you not necessarily find the opposite. Right now, I just went to the website, and you can see now 2 1-bedroom is still there for a long time being vacant, also next senior right now, they have 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom is available for $900. It's not bad for 2-bedroom. So it's available. So those kind of things, I find those all the time. But, I don't find 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. That's what I'm really talking about. And for us to add more money, why would it not being hesitant like this when we approved the $5 million for like all kind of, we said, no, we don't also only need affordable housing. We need all kind of housing. We need middle class housing, we need high class housing. And that's why we approved $5 million, which is supposed to be for the affordable housing. We give it to something not even near affordable.
Well, I think that's a really good question.
You
but-
know, no, that's
But-
when we become bold about affordable housing, we need to really not be cautious about using the general fund. We don't need to be cautious about that because we cannot be cautious except each time come to affordable housing and low-income peoples, we are very cautious. But we can build like a pool for $18 million. We can give like $5 million, which is supposed to be affordable housing, to a construction that like multi-million dollar. This is, this $5 million that we just gave can build half of this building, $9 million. We can build here, something like that, here in Riverfront Crossing, and we can have low-income people come and live in Riverfront Crossing. Because we don't even have that. I'm sorry, but that's really make me mad. I'm not mad of anyone here, but the situation is always, I've been on this council for a long time, like Councilman, are you saying that? Let us start this as a pilot. And maybe, I've been in this council this is my 8 years, isn't it, or next year? Next year is my 8 years, and I have 2 years gap. 10 years, I've been saying affordable housing. 10 years. 10 years and we've been doing that. During this time, we fund a lot of things. We fund like, TIF, we give it to many peoples. We did a lot of stuff that I can count, but we did not be bold about affordable housing. And now just adding $1 million, everybody cautious like this?
I
You
respect.
said last time you told me last time we spent $1 million for capital improvement without even blink of the eye.
Absolutely. Although I will say that there's been a lot of affordable housing that we have done, so I don't want to diminish the work that we have done. Although I think I hear what you're saying.
You know what I mean? I know that
I know,
we
yes,
have one
absolutely.
here and there.
Yes.
We never been bold.
Yeah.
And this one is really we become bold.
Yeah. I think I want to maybe just get the temperature of the council where we want to go from here. Are people thinking they want to kind of weigh in on one of the options? If we can have those options back up on the screen, please. It's options 1, 2, or 3. Or we heard potentially waiting until next time. Again, I will just reiterate that the longer that we wait,
Yes.
just push things down the line, but it is council decision.
If we wait until June 2nd, which is the next meeting, the LIHTC application is due on June 10th. So that doesn't leave much time to be able to put our best. I don't know if there could be application stuff in the works, but if we haven't decided as a council, that puts staff at a real disadvantage. So
We can start filling out the applications. I've been doing grants. We can best wait for that.
I'm offering up that if we wait, that gives them 8 days to put this application in.
Sure.
And that's not entirely fair,
Yeah.
given that we have all committed that we want to do this. So I understand and respect if people want to wait on this. I'm also pointing out just a reality of that's 8 days away from when this LIHTC, which is $800,000.
Yeah, our consultant said as much as we can get done design-wise, it helps our application. We score higher, showing that we're further along. So
Before everybody decide, I want to just mention something. Keep in mind, if we want to option 2, and we add money, we're not changing anything on the pro forma. We're not doing, and we're still going to receive the same amount of revenue. And we are not losing money, as the person mentioned. The only thing is, the construction, which is if we added, we did not, of course, give them money, they have to put that extra money in the pro forma, and that way it will increase the pay of the loan. But if we pay the difference between 8.7 and 9.5 from the general fund, we are not going to change anything, and we will have more units, more unit, the same unit, but more bedrooms, and we can house more people. So we are not like doing anything except taking money from the from the reserve.
The pieces of information that are sticking in my head that I'm just kind of frustrated we weren't able to get into that depth of conversation before tonight is the inability to, given the demand of single people who are likely to meet our rental criteria, right? And the fact that we cannot preference having more than one tenant per unit, whether it's a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, or a 3-bedroom. Am I understanding that correctly? Okay. Given that, and that we've locked ourselves into the 36 units, so we can't do like the trade that was recommended at the last meeting, I think I'm comfortable moving ahead with option 1. But Councilor Saleh, I want you to hear that I completely agree with the fact that yet again, we are just baking in to this decision the systems that have already existed that we know are not meeting the needs of many of these specifically immigrant families who, if they were able to be given some preference, could be housed in right-size housing with more bedrooms under option 2.
Just for your reference, those are not only immigrants. We have our low-income Iowans. We have people who are homeless who are not immigrants.
No, but I'm saying that I do believe the lived experiences that you have and the families who you are helping, including immigrants and other families, right? But we know that there are folks who have been excluded from the system, not from any overt discrimination, but just because of what it takes to get into the housing authority system, because of what it takes to get onto the waiting list. But because we have such a significant backlog, and it sounds like the majority, so many people, are going to be individuals, and we can't say, you wait, we prioritize this family, I would feel very, very differently if we could do some shuffling like that. But if we have to house eligible single people in 2 and 3 bedrooms, I don't feel like we're meeting, our goals if we can't shift those priorities around. Whereas, yeah, I don't know.
We have about 4 more minutes, so maybe if we can just get a little temperament of where people are with options of the 3, as well as if people are wanting to delay this. I know I don't want to delay anymore, just given all the discussion today, and I'm comfortable going with number 1.
Okay, I'm the only one. I'm
That
going
seems
with
like
number 2.
If that seems like the direction that the majority of council is going to go, there's one thing that I just want to tell, like what Councilor Burgess was saying, kind of the frustration of like getting, and I know it's hard, it's such a complex process to get all the information in our brains at the same time, or all of the information that we need at all times. I'm not necessarily saying that's anybody's fault or anybody's remiss in their duties. I think it's just when things like that happen, it is frustrating. But one thing, when it comes to the specific problem, like Councilor Saleh and what Councilor Burgess just painted out, is that, because of the structure of the systems that we have that just kind of naturally will exclude people, I just don't want us to, like, if we go forward with this, I just don't want us to forget that and just have it be like, all right, we talked about it for this one project, and now, that's out the window. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
Yeah.
I don't know what form that takes, what type of commitment, but I don't know if that looks like looking into legal suggestions about how we could address this problem, direction to the attorney, direction to the housing authority. I don't know about that, but I just, I don't want it to go away.
I think that I have experience, and I'm the one who have first-hand experience with those. I bringing this. Either you just understand what I'm bringing is really valid and something that it should be in consideration, or not. because it's not registered at the housing authority like system or something like that. But same thing going to happen over and over whenever project come and whenever we bring the same thing, unless we have system for it. So because I don't know, everything I think is going to be legitimate. It have to be in the system.
And I just mean like addressing the fact that we know, you know, that there are families that are in inadequate units.
But we are not doing anything about it.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is we know
We're
that
not
that's,
doing as much,
we
or
know-
we're doing it a different way, but it's
No,
not
here,
fair to
here,
say we
here,
aren't doing
here.
anything.
Well,
I'm talking about in this.
Yeah.
We are not, I brought what I said, but we are not doing anything about it in this.
But what I was going to say is that when it comes to the process and how we can get folks under the umbrella of however we are going to do it, so that we know that the 2 and the 3 bedrooms that exist or that come into this project, how do we fix that problem of knowing that there are families that need it, but they are not being put in these places? Like that's something that I want to know, you know, and like how, yeah.
And I'm going to just respectfully ask if you state which number you're thinking, as well as if you wanted to continue the meeting.
You already have 4
I
people.
was
sir.
referring to Councilor Whiteline.
I mean, I'm okay. It seems like council wants to do option 1. I'm okay with waiting till next meeting because I just, there's too many compounding factors and information that I don't know about yet. But if it seems like council is going with option 1, which that's what it seems like, I just wanted to make that known that there is a need, there are people that are being left out of the process. How can we give direction to look into the problem formally so we can fill these units?
We have deadlines, so it sounds like are you giving 1, 2, or 3?
Well, I said that I would be willing to delay until next meeting.
Okay, all right. Councilor Hermson, I think I heard you earlier say 1.
I think the one, yeah, right now.
Okay. And Mayor Pro Tem?
I had said option 1.
Okay, and then Councilor Sala, I believe you're option 2. Is that correct? So we do have a majority to go with option 1 to give that direction to staff. We will leave that at that. We're going to go with item number 4, which is council updates on assigned boards, commissions, and committees. But we'll go ahead and do that because I think we can do that really quickly.
I have a couple quick ones from Iowa City of Literature, UNESCO. Let me get my notes for that. Just take me a hot second here. Quick congrats on the recent Music IC Festival, which included commissioned local work, a concert at the Masonic Lodge, and a string quartet at the foot of the IC Black Angel statue, which is coincidentally very close to this project that property we're talking about now. Little heads up, this Saturday from 2 to 3:30 on the Pentacrest, weather permitting. If the weather's bad, it'll be in the Senate chambers in the old Capitol building. There is, and you're going to love this, a Rage Against the Machine event, which is, because I know we're...
The Page Against the Machine event?
No. Well, I think they called it Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, people can come to this event, put down all their electronics, pick up a book, and just read together with a group of people. An idea that actually started in Nottingham, England, which is kind of fun if anybody likes their Robin Hood. And then, so roughly the same time of people all over many different countries will be putting down their electronics and then picking up a book to read. And again, that's 2 to 3:30 at the Pentacrest if the weather's good, or in the old Capitol building if the weather is bad. And so, yep, that's, and also, and this is kind of a way to also give another shout out to our amazing Latasha Deloach at the Senior Center, but also City of Lit UNESCO was a big part, or was one of the groups that cooperated with the incredibly successful Black Future Fest event that was held about a month ago, something like that.
February.
So just those are the things that updates from the UNESCO.
All right, great. Any other updates? Hearing none, we are adjourned. We'll be back at 6 p.m. for our formal meeting.
Mike's on.
6G.
Yes.
All right. All right, it is 6 p.m. on May 19th, 2026, and I'm going to call the City of Iowa City meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Alter. Burgess.
Here.
Harmson.
Here.
Mo. Saleh.
Here.
Teague.
Here.
Wyland.
Here.
All right. Well, I want to welcome everyone to your City Hall that is here in Council Chambers, and to those that are watching virtually, welcome as well. We're going to move on with item number 2, which is proclamations. 2A is Mississippi River Day. This will be read by Councilor Sean Harmson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I asked to read this one because I grew up on the Mississippi. I'm from the east coast of Iowa. So, whereas the Mississippi River is a precious asset, it's a lifeline for millions of people, a haven for wildlife, a source of inspiration, recreation, and connection. Spanning 2,350 miles and uniting 10 main stem states and 32 tributary states within its vast watershed, from the wild rice beds in Minnesota and the Rocky Mountains to the oyster reefs in Louisiana and New Orleans, the river nourishes communities, supports livelihoods, and brings people together. Today, we honor its importance and commit to protecting its future. And whereas for thousands of years, the Mississippi River has been deeply woven into the lives of indigenous peoples, sustaining communities and supporting cultural relevance. And whereas the river provides drinking water for over 20 million Americans, fuels local economies through commerce, agriculture, tourism, and recreation. And whereas the river is the heart of a migratory flyway for 60% of North America's bird species and home to hundreds of fish, amphibians, reptiles, and mammal species, making it one of the world's most important ecological corridors. And whereas pollution, habitat destruction, and climate change threaten the health of the river and the communities that depend on it, requiring collaboration across states, agencies, individuals, communities, and organizations to restore and protect this natural treasure. And whereas One Mississippi and its network of 78 organizations and 20,000 river citizens invite all to take action through conservation efforts, advocacy, or enjoying the river and building community, especially during River Days of Action, June 1st through the 15th, when people unite to restore, celebrate, and advocate for a healthier river. Now, therefore, I, Sean Harmson, on behalf of Bruce Teague, Mayor of Iowa City, do proclaim June 2nd, 2026 to be Mississippi River Day in Iowa City and encourage all to celebrate, protect, and restore this incredible river by participating in events, becoming a One Mississippi River citizen, and taking action for a cleaner, healthier future. And accepting the proclamation today will be Nancy Porter, co-vice president of the League of Women Voters Upper Mississippi River Region, which includes the states of Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Missouri.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, all of you council members, Mayor Bruce. I really appreciate the fact that you take the time to allow community to do something like this. I'm a lifelong educator from the Iowa City Community School District and still consider myself in a position to educate. And if none of these facts were new to you, we can always add that Iowa is a big part of the responsibility of the Delta in the Gulf of Mexico, and that we need to inform people about that. We also need to let people know that Iowa is a total watershed to the Mississippi River. The University of Missouri did a study about 3 years ago interviewing people, and only 19% of our Iowans knew we were in the watershed for the Mississippi River, and that's quite a shame. So I want to thank the city manager for contacting the right people for me, because we have a real gem in Kelly Grace. She was a big, big help, and I appreciate everyone on the council working so hard for our community. Can't thank you enough. Thank you for being here, spending your time, and dealing with way too many important projects and other things too. So this proclamation means a lot. And if it's only for 1 year, you'll see me again next year, because we here in Iowa City and Johnson County, League of Women Voters, will be celebrating Mississippi River Day on June 5. And I have invitations for each of the council members and anybody in the audience who might want to know what's going on. So maybe I should give these to
Our assistants.
Thank you for our council members. Activities for the day, starting in Muscatine, Iowa, and spending a long day there, beginning at the Stanley Sustainable Building for Justice and Society, and having lunch together, and then going to the Lock and Dam 16. And at lunch, we'll have a speaker who is also a member of the League of Women Voters, and she will be presenting the story about her great-grandfather who had a wooden boat and used as a tugboat and as a transportation boat. So she'll visit with us, and I'd love to have any and all of you join us. So thank you so much for this opportunity. If there's anybody in the audience that wants an invite, I have plenty. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to accept correspondence?
So move, Burgess.
Need a second?
Second, Wyland.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We are moving on to our consent agenda, which is items 3 through 7 with a separate consideration for 6G. Can I get a motion, please?
So move, Burgess.
Second, Wyland.
All right, anyone from the public like to address this topic? If you're online, please raise your virtual hand. If you're in council chambers, please come forward. Seeing no one online or in council chambers, council discussion. Roll call, please.
Harmson,
Yes.
Sala,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Wyline,
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Could I get a motion to accept correspondence for item 6B?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Salah, seconded by Wyline. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And we're going to do a motion for a separate consideration.
So moved, Wyline.
1 second.
Sorry.
Yep, so could I get a motion for item number 6G on the consent calendar?
So moved, Wyline.
Second, Harmson.
All right, anyone from the public like to address this topic? Seeing no one in person or online, council discussion. Roll call, please.
Teague,
Yes.
Wyline,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
There's only 4 of us. This is scary.
Thank goodness we're not in an Agatha Christie novel.
We're at item number 8, which is community comment. This is an opportunity for folks to talk about anything that is not on our agenda. Is there anyone present today that would like to speak? Welcome you at this time. You'll be given up to 3 minutes to speak, and just know that council cannot engage in a discussion or a debate. There is a sign-in there for folks to sign in, and you'll be given, again, up to 3 minutes, and we'll ask for you to give your name and state the city that you're from. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Chris Lawrence. I'm from Iowa City, 20-year resident, and I'm coming here on behalf of the Airport Commission to give you an update on airport business and make good on our promise in our strategic plan to engage with you all more often and give you updates about the precious infrastructure we have on the south end of our city. Just some brief talking points that I wanted to highlight for all of you. The Iowa DOT did a study. They do a study every few years to assess the economic impact of various transportation in the state. Iowa City's airport is estimated to produce $24 million per year to the local economy. We're very proud of that. We see that with a lot of economic and aviation activity at the airport. So I'll highlight some of the things that go on there. We have flights for the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, helicopter operations, organ donations, patients being brought in from long distances that are then transported to the hospital. We have business-related flights. Procter & Gamble, Mid-American, Shields, Costco are all businesses that have used the Iowa City Airport to further their business interests and contribute to the local economy. You are probably all aware of the solar array that's been put on the airport grounds. We have some revised numbers to kind of illustrate how impactful that solar array has been. Airport runway lights contribute a lot to our electricity bill. They're very bright for pilots at night. They have to be. 98% reduction in our total cost to run the airport light infrastructure just by installing the solar panel. The total savings are estimated to be $12,000 a year annually, down from $20,000 that we were spending. So I kind of said that backwards, but in essence, it's $8,000 a year out of our pocket instead of $20,000 a year. That goes right back into our operating budget, into our emergency fund, building up savings to help the airport. We increased fuel flowage fees on our fuel flowage, and that's bringing in additional revenue for us, and that's helping pad our budget a little bit more and make us feel a little bit more comfortable. And then I also want to give you an update on the jet that's at the entrance to the airport. You probably heard that we were engaging with some veterans groups. We have done that. We have a plan with our Johnson County Community Fund to collect funds from veterans groups who are helping us raise funds. We're currently looking at restoring the jet. We're going to paint it instead of polish it. That will help it last longer. And we have strong buy-in from our veterans groups to continue doing that. And we're going to use state and local funding we're going to apply for hangar expansions as well to help with the revenue. Finally, I would invite you all to come visit.
Thank you.
We will happily help and
Thank you.
visit.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else want to address an item that is not on our agenda? Seeing no one. All right, I'm going to close the community comment. All right, we are at our regular formal agenda, 9A, Mid-American Energy Electric Franchise. Ordinance renewing and continuing the franchise granted to Mid-American Energy Company, its successors, and assigned to acquire, construct, direct, maintain, and operate in the city of Iowa City an electric light and power system to furnish, deliver, and sell electric energy to said city and its inhabitants for a period of 5 years. I'm going to open up the public hearing, and we will get a presentation for items 9A through 9B that'll be given by our Assistant City Manager, Kirk Lehman. Welcome.
Thanks, Mayor and Council. Kirk Lehman, Assistant City Manager. As you noted, I'll be covering items 9A and 9B at the same time. So that is Mid-American's electric franchise agreement renewal as well as their gas franchise agreement renewal at the same time. Note that I might call them Mid-Am. I might slip into that. I do that sometimes. Mid-American, Mid-Am are the same thing, Mid-American Energy Company. So tonight, what you're looking at is a renewal of their franchise agreement, which is really an agreement that guides their use of right-of-way in exchange for abiding by certain regulations and stipulations that we put on their usage of that right-of-way. So for some background, we entered into a 25-year agreement with them in 2007. They've long been our primary utility provider for electricity and gas, but 2007 is the most recent franchise agreement. 25 years is the max term allowed under state law. So with our franchise agreement, we structured it such that it does require proactive renewal every 10 years. So that has to be approved between 1 and 2 years before that expires. So with us having approved it in 2007 the first time, the subsequent renewal was in 2016. We are now in the second renewal, which would maintain the agreement through 2032, should that be approved. So this renewal that's before you today is approximately 5 years long, and the approval has to happen prior to December 4th, 2026. So that was one thing that we did to try and ensure that we stayed in contact with them constantly. But of course, we work with them frequently, quite frequently all the time, and we have a very strong working relationship with MidAmerican Energy. So we do recommend approving the franchise agreement to run through its full 25-year term, so that additional 5 years on top of it. As you all know, they've been a significant partner, especially in reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. I would say that they've really been a leader in renewable energy, and one of the reasons, one significant reason that we're hitting our climate action goals before we planned to was because of their dedication and continued partnership. They're also working with us on things like our renewable natural gas project at the wastewater plant. There's been a lot of activities that we've been able to partner with them on, and we're very thankful for that relationship. I did include their 2025 annual report in your packet. So that does lay out a lot of the stuff that they've been doing. We get annual reports from them every year, so that should be in your info packets every year, but wanted to highlight that one specifically since that's the most recent. The other thing I wanted to highlight in the franchise agreement before you tonight, or at least within the ordinance, is that it would retitle Title 12, Chapter 1 to Chapter 1A in anticipation of an item that will come before you after this. But it's more of just adjusting numbering, nothing that's a significant change with that. So with that, I did want to note that Tyler Gartenberg with MidAmerican Energy is here. If you do have any specific questions for MidAm, I'm also happy to answer any questions you have about the franchise agreement. So that concludes my presentation.
All right, any questions? Hearing none, thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone from the public like to address this topic? If you're online, I see no one online, so if you're present, please raise your if you're present, please come forth. Seeing no one, I'm going to close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to give first consideration, please?
So moved. Burgess?
Second, Wyline.
All right, council discussion. Roll call, please.
Sala?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Wyline?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Harmson?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. 9B, this is MidAmerican Energy Gas Franchise Ordinance renewing and continuing the franchise granted to MidAmerican Energy Company, its successors and assigns to acquire, construct, erect, maintain, and operate in the City of Iowa City a natural gas system to furnish, deliver, and sell natural gas to said city and its inhabitants for a period of 5 years. I'm going to open up the public hearing, and we just received the presentation at the in the last item. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this item? Please come forth. Seeing no one, I'm going to close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to give first consideration?
So moved. Harmson?
Second, Burgess?
All right, council discussion. Roll call, please.
Teague?
Yes.
Wyline?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Harmson?
Yes.
Sala?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. We're at item number 9C, Eastern Iowa Light and Power Cooperative Electric Franchise Ordinance granted to Eastern Iowa Light and Power Cooperative, its successors, and assigns the right and franchise to acquire, construct, erect, maintain, and operate in the City of Iowa City an electric light and power system to furnish, deliver, and sell electric energy to said city and its inhabitants, and to enact a 2% franchise-free fee on the gross revenue derived from the distribution, delivery, and retail sale of electricity by franchisees to customers within the current or future corporate limits of the City of Iowa City. I'm going to open up the public hearing. And is there anyone, Kirk Lehman, coming for this? All right.
Kirk Lehman, Assistant City Manager. This is a somewhat similar but unique situation that we realized occurred as we were updating the franchise fee the last time, which would have been last year. So Eastern Iowa Light and Power is a rural electric cooperative that serves a very small portion of western Iowa City and south Iowa City, which includes our wastewater plant as well as a few neighborhoods that are kind of west of 218. So I did include their service area map in your packet, but essentially Eastern Iowa primarily serves rural areas from Johnson County all the way over to Davenport and then south kind of to Burlington, roughly that service territory, but a small portion of Iowa City, partially because of our growth. So previously with Eastern Iowa, we had handled their use of the right-of-way through a license agreement, which the last time that we had one was adopted in 1993. That agreement was essentially mirrored our franchise agreement that we had with what is now Mid-American Energy at that time. That agreement did expire in 2008, and we've essentially been working with them informally using the same provisions that we would with Mid-Am, but without a formal franchise agreement. So as we were updating those franchise fees, we recognized that there's a need to really formalize this agreement, especially as it relates to equitably implementing our 2% franchise fee, which is currently not applied in the service territory of Eastern Iowa REC. So we developed a franchise agreement that's similar to Mid-American's. It does have some language / technical updates to it to match current practice, as well as some of our current technologies that we see. But we really see this as an opportunity to make sure that we have an equitable application of that 2% fee, though we do, like I said, it's a relatively small area, so we don't really anticipate a lot of revenue. It will generate some revenue, but relatively minor. We did set the agreement to terminate concurrently with Mid-American's agreement, so we have it proposed to be a 6-year agreement that would terminate in December 4th, 2032. That would provide an opportunity for a comprehensive review of all our franchise agreements at the same time as those agreements end. So we did provide an opportunity for Eastern Iowa REC to review the agreement, and we incorporated many of their comments as well. But overall, staff recommends approval of the agreement as well as approval of that 2% franchise fee, which would also be subject to the same revenue purpose statement that's applied to the franchise fees that are collected from Mid-American Energy. So happy to answer any questions.
I see in the memo that the 2% fee will be effective October 1st. Do we have any estimates of what that revenue will be for the city?
I do not. I know that I believe they have less than 200 accounts in Iowa City. I believe it would be a relatively nominal amount.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no other questions. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone from the public like to address this topic? Seeing no one in person or online, I'm going to close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to get first consideration?
So moved, Harmson.
Second, Burgess.
All right. Anyone from any council discussion? Council discussion. Roll call, please.
Wyline.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Harmson.
Yes.
Sala.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. 9D, fiscal year 2026 budget amendment public hearing. Resolution amending the current budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. I'm going to open up the public hearing. And welcome, Nicole.
Good evening, Mayor Council. Nicole Davies, Finance Director. This is probably the simplest budget amendment you'll ever see. We realized with the one that you just passed in April, with the new refunding, I had missed the in and out of the bond proceeds. So this is just to correct those amounts. And that is all that is on it.
Great.
Thanks.
Any questions for Nicole? All right, hearing none. All right, anyone from the public like to address this topic? Seeing no one in person or online, I'm going to close the public hearing. Could I get a motion to approve, please?
So move, Sala.
Second, Wyline.
All right, council discussion. Roll call, please.
Burgess.
Yes.
Harmson.
Yes.
Sala.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes.
Wyline.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. 9E, Robert A. Lee Recreational Center Roof Replacement Project 2026. Resolution approving project manual and estimate of cost for the construction of the Robert A. Lee Recreational Center Roof Replacement Project 2026. Establishing amount of bid security to accompany each bid, directing city clerk to post notice to bidders, and fixing time and place for receipt of bids. I'm going to open up the public hearing. And, all right, welcome, Josh.
Good evening, council. Josh Worrell, Facilities Manager, Iowa City. Presentation here. So we'll be replacing the roof on Robert A. Lee. The general scope of this is replace the EPDM roof system on this. It's reached its serviceable life. Base bid will be the pool area, offices and classroom with an alternate of the gym in the front east side roofs. The map here you'll see on here, base bid will encompass south and west side, and then the alternate will be the northeast side and east side of it. The red boxes you see on their base bid will be replacing the ladder system and updating with OSHA compliant railing where the units are on that. Estimated cost is $953,000. Bid letting will be June 9th. Contract award date will be June 16th. And construction dates July through November. Obviously, with weather-wise, we'll probably flex a little bit on that. And I believe that is it.
All right, any questions?
Do we foresee pool closure because of this work?
The only time we will see a pool closure maybe be for a day or two while they're doing work above it.
Okay.
We would not allow usage during that time if they're doing any kind of penetrance on the roof itself. So we may see a day or so here and there, but we'll try to schedule those out at least a week in advance.
Cool. So not like weeks at a time?
Nope.
Okay. Lots of people are very eager for swimming.
I understand.
And we don't have a new pool yet, so.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you. Anyone from the public like to address this topic? Say no one in person or online. I'm going to close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Wyline, seconded by Sala. Council discussion? Roll call, please.
Burgess.
Yes.
Harmson.
Yes.
Sala.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes.
Wyline.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. 9F, Water Pavement Patching 2026 Project. Resolution approving project manual and estimate of cost for the construction of the Water Pavement Patching 2026 project. Establishing amount of bid security to accompany each bid, directing city clerk to post notice to bidders, and fixing time and place for receipt of bids. I'm going to open up the public hearing, and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Tim Schmedeke, and I'm a civil engineer with the city's engineering department. The Water Pavement Patching 2026 project is an annual project that addresses pavement repairs associated with water main breaks here in the city. On average, over the last 5 years, Iowa City has experienced 70 main breaks per year. There are currently 34 locations in need of repair for this year, and as the year goes on, there will be more main breaks, and those additional locations will be added to this project. Not all water main breaks are underneath pavement, so that site restoration is done in-house. So that's probably why this project won't get to that close to that 70 average of main breaks there. As you can see in these images, water main breaks can affect sidewalk curb ramps, people's driveways, streets, pavement near manholes. We do temporary repairs on these main breaks until this project can kind of come in and do, at a minimum, restore the site conditions to what they were prior to the main break. The estimated construction cost of this project is $400,000, and that amount is based on the current number of 34 sites. The bid opening is June 9th, and then the contract will be awarded the following Tuesday on June 16th.
and then construction will take place from July to November of this year. Here's how I can be contacted. Thank you all for your time. Are there any questions?
I have one question, Tim. Can you go back to the temporary covering? Is it always like this, or do you sometimes just use rocks?
So it'll be rock for a little bit when they initially backfill over the water main fix. And then I believe it's our streets department comes in and does a cold patch, and then that'll be patched until summer when we come in. And
Okay, and is there, do you try to do this in a short amount of time just to have the rocks there, or?
Yeah, from what I noticed, it was about a week or two.
Okay.
Until they could get in there with the pavement.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Hearing no other questions. Anyone from the public like to address this topic? Please come forth. Seeing no one in person or online, I'm going to close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Burgess.
Second, Saleh.
Council discussion? Roll call, please.
Harmson?
Yes.
Sala?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes?
Wyline?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 9G, convey electric easement, resolution conveying an electric easement on and under portions of city property near Willow Creek Drive. I'm going to open up the public hearing and turn it over to our city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Mid-American has requested this easement near Willow Creek Drive so as to better serve some of the folks in the area. We are getting compensated for this, $2,000, which we think is appropriate, and I think that's probably all I have to offer.
Any questions? Hearing none. All right. Anyone from the public like to address this topic? Seeing no one in person or online, I'm going to close the public hearing. Could I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Burgess.
Second, Wyline.
Council discussion. Roll call, please.
Sala?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes?
Wyline?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Harmson?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. 9H, fiscal year 2027 utilities rate. Ordinance amending Title III entitled Finances, Taxation and Fees, Chapter 4 entitled Schedule of Fees, Rates, Charges, Bonds, Fines, and Penalties. Can I get a motion to pass and adopt?
So moved, Wyline.
Second, Burgess.
Anyone from the public like to address this topic? Seeing no one in person or online. Council discussion. Roll call, please.
Sala?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes?
Wyline?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Harmson?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. 9J, Human Rights Grant Allocations. Resolution adopting the Human Rights Grant allocations for fiscal year 2026. Can I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Saleh.
7.
Moved by
Saleh.
Saleh, seconded by Burgess. All right, and we're going to welcome our Human Rights Commissioners.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Doug Kolash. I'm the chair of the Human Rights Commission, and joining me here is Emily Harkin, our vice chair. We are here to present the Human Rights Commission's recommendations for the 2026 Human Rights Grants. These grants are designed to assist Iowa City organizations in one of three ways: building capacity to organize communities around human rights, strengthening the ability to mobilize communities in support of human rights, or educating the public on human rights. For example, through organizing and facilitating educational public forums on a broad range of human rights topics.
The Commission received and thoroughly reviewed 10 submissions. We discussed these applications at our April 28th monthly meeting, and we recommend the following 7 organizations for this fiscal year: the Asian Pacific American Public Affairs Eastern Iowa Chapter, Escucha Mi Voice Iowa, the Englert Civic Theater, Great Plains Action Society, NAMI Johnson County, Neighborhood Centers of Johnson County, and the Wright House of Fashion.
Thank you.
I just have a question. I remember this grant long time ago. It called like Racial Equity and Social Justice Grant.
Yes.
And now you have 3 focus of like educating people about human rights. Is this has been changed since then, or what's going on?
So we changed the name 2 years ago from Racial Equity, Social Justice to just the Human Rights Grant to become more encompassing, more inclusive of all the human rights topics that we deal with as a commission.
Because not only the name change means also you change the, like, what it fund, like the 3 area that you just talked about it. This is also, I think, is new because I remember when Kinsley Batchway come up with this, it was for certain kind of racial justice, like social equity grant. And I just want to know why the change and why did you change the names?
The office changed the names, so it wasn't through the commission ourselves. It was through recommendations from the city council. I believe a couple years ago we kind of restructured the grant and the way it was awarded. So those kind of came through city council and then through the Office of Human Rights.
If I may, Mayor, there was a change in state law a couple of years ago that resulted in us wanting to change the criteria a little bit so as to be compliant.
Due to that one.
Sorry?
Due to the state law change,
Yes.
we have to change that. Is that even the name?
I guess I can't recall. I can't recall, but I remember that the adjustments we made were directly in response to that law. We wanted to be able to keep doing the good work that's being done by the Human Rights Commission with these grants and so forth, but we needed to just tweak it a little bit so that we can keep doing it without running afoul of the state law and risking other state funding.
By like calling equity and racial.
That kind
Okay.
of thing, yes.
Get you.
Yeah, the
Thank
E
you.
word being one of the 3 dirty words now. So yeah,
I know. No problem. Thank you. You are doing good work. Thank you.
of course, our pleasure.
Yeah.
Other questions?
No questions.
There are no other
Thank you.
questions. Thank you. Anyone from the public like to address this topic? Please come forth now. Seeing no one, council discussion.
Just a quick thank you for the collection, review, and decision-making in the process that's required for these grants. It's good work. Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, loved reading the annual report from the Human Rights Office and Commission. Commented on this during the work session, but I think it's very noticeable that the commission is doing a lot above and beyond when it comes to community engagement. So thank you.
Ditto, ditto, ditto. All right. Roll call, please.
Teague?
Yes?
Weilang?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Harmson?
Yes.
Sala?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. 9J, approval of fiscal year 2027 annual action plan. Resolution adopting Iowa City's fiscal year 2027 annual action plan, which is a subpart of Iowa City's 2026 through 2030 consolidation plan. And could I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Weiland.
Second, Burgess.
All right, and, all right. Welcome,
Hello.
welcome, welcome.
Was that action plan? Do I have to recuse myself?
Hi, all. Brianna Toole, Neighborhood Services. The item before you tonight is our FY27 Annual Action Plan. This is the document that programs our annual CDBG and home allocations. We receive these each year from HUD. To jog your memory, last year around this time, Council approved our Consolidated Plan City Steps 2030. The 5-year strategic plan kind of sets the goals and the strategies for that 5-year period, and then our annual action plan that we bring to you each year is saying specifically, what are we going to do with those federal funds during the next fiscal year? Submission of an annual action plan is required for the city to submit to HUD in order for us to access these funds. So the first slide here shows you our allocations for FY27 in blue. You can see the difference between FY26 to FY27. Total, we're looking at a decrease of about $15,000. Obviously, we always want to see those allocations increase, but over this last year, it was pretty tumultuous, more than usual, so we're feeling especially grateful to have even this $1.1 million to allocate. Looking at the history of our funding allocations, this slide is showing you 1995 to present. The blue being our home allocations, gray being CDBG, and then the orange line there is showing you our admin levels since 1995. Doesn't look terrible when we look at it on this slide. If we adjust for inflation, it looks quite different. So after adjusting for inflation, reality is we're losing our purchasing power over the last several decades. So through that consolidated planning process that I mentioned, we are really looking at the whole picture of what can we do most effectively with these federal funds. Iowa City, we're also lucky in that we have other local resources for affordable housing. So how can we leverage those and have the most bang for our buck? With the local funds like you were talking about earlier, there's less restrictions attached to those, so we can do different and be more flexible projects with the local funds compared to federal dollars. So all of that was kind of factored into our consolidated planning process, which feeds into this annual action plan. Annually, we do a competitive funding round. Things were a little bit different beginning in FY26. In sort of the strategies that I talked about with the consolidated plan, we began to set more funding aside for annual programs. So for example, the city used to come to the competitive round and we would apply to do down payment assistance. Through the consolidated plan, that program went well, so we just said, hey, let's set aside this amount of funds each year and we'll continue operating this program. So the funds, the federal CDBG and home funds are allocated through a variety of those programs that are set aside and then also through the competitive round. This year, about $440,000 was made available through the FY27 competitive process, and that's for nonprofits to undertake eligible activities. We're looking at acquisition of affordable rental housing and then also public facility improvements. Applications opened December 29th, and they were due January 30th. As staff, we hold an applicant workshop for any applicants that might be interested in undertaking a project like this, just to go over the requirements and what goes into administering a project like this. Submissions were reviewed by staff and by the Housing and Community Development Commission, followed by a Q&A with applicants. Staff scores and funding recommendations were provided to HCDC March 13th, and then the commissioners scored proposal and developed funding recommendations at their March 23rd meeting. I also wanted to mention, I know things with HCDC looked very different last year, so I wanted to report that we had full participation in scoring. We also implemented new software that the commission was brave enough to try, and all that went really well. So we appreciate their participation in that process. Our annual action plan really boils down to this project summary. I'll take you through this a little bit. The first project here is a portion of our aid to agencies funding. There will be an item after this where we'll talk more about aid to agencies, but about 15% of our CDBG allocation can be used to support that program. So that boils down to about $115,000. A community housing development organization, that is a home program requirement where we can use up to 5% to support their operational funds, and then we're also required to set aside 15% of our annual home allocation for, they call it a CHODO, to undertake CHODO reserve activities. The only certified CHODO that we have right now would be the Housing Fellowship. There are other communities, Iowa and nationwide, that have a difficult time accessing those funds because the requirements to be a CHODO are so specific. So here in Iowa City, we're lucky that we have partners to work with to access those funds. We also administer directly through the city an owner-occupied housing rehab program. That's a long-standing program. For that, we're looking at homeowners, and the program provides priority to applicants with income below 50% of area median income, seniors, veterans, and people with disabilities. We are also, you've heard about this a little bit recently, tenant-based rental assistance administered through the Housing Authority. That's an annual set-aside of funds that's being administered by our city staff. Through the competitive process, the Iowa City Housing Authority applied to acquire an affordable rental unit, so we're looking at $290,000 for them to be able to do that. The next project, this is the CHODO reserve, the 15% that I mentioned, that will be set aside for a rental rehab project undertaken by the Housing Fellowship. Through our competitive round, we didn't receive enough applications to allocate all the funds. In lieu of doing another funding round, staff recommended to the commission that we allocate the remaining $108,000 to the city or a local certified CHODO to undertake another rental acquisition project. For our public facilities projects, we have Reach for Your Potential, $20,000, and Neighborhood Centers of Johnson County, $24,000. Both organizations are looking at making facility improvements. They're both operating childcare centers here in Iowa City. And then the last line item there is just planning and administration. Those line items are capped by HUD regulations, so we can only spend that amount each year. The timeline for this plan, there's a 30-day public comment period beginning April 17th through today, May 19th. We haven't received any public comments to date. I presented the same plan to HCDC last night, and they recommended approval. City Council meeting, this is our public meeting, May 19th, and then the next steps after this would be submitting to HUD if approved. Our plan is due by June 2nd. Projects can begin once the plan is approved and grant agreements are issued. One thing that a commissioner hit on last night was that with the way things work with HUD, we often don't get our grant agreements until October, so we're looking at fall to start moving projects forward. And then we also have a timeliness test in May. The commissioner pointed out that we also have winter in the middle of that, so that makes construction projects difficult. So having projects that can move forward on this timeline is really helpful, and some of the changes we made through City Steps 2030 have definitely facilitated that. If you have any questions, I can answer them. Otherwise, we're looking for approval of our plan so we can submit to HUD and start next steps.
There are no questions. Thank you. Anyone from the public like to address this topic? Seeing no one in person or online. All right, council discussion. We still have some opportunities, so.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah. All right. Roll call, please.
Wetline,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson,
Yes.
Sala, Teague.
Yes. Motion passes 4-0. And I just wanted to acknowledge that Councilor Sala recused herself on this item 9J. All right. And we're going to move on to 9K. Councilor Sala is also recusing herself from item number 9K. We're going to go with fiscal year 2027 aid to agency funding, resolution allocating aid to agency funding for fiscal year 2027. And can I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Wyline.
Second, Burgess.
All right. And then welcome back up, Brianna.
Thank you. Brianna Toole, Neighborhood Services. This item is the allocation of our aid to agencies funding for the FY27 fiscal year. To jog your memory, the purpose of the aid to agencies program is to provide flexible operational funding to our nonprofits here in Iowa City, serving Iowa City residents with low to moderate income. The city supports nonprofits in a variety of ways. You've heard tonight about CDBG funds, home funds, human rights grants. We also support projects through things like winter shelter and ARPA support for capital improvements. Keep in mind when you're looking at this slide that this is specific to aid to agencies only. So this is showing our aid to agencies investment over the last decade with the most substantial increases in the last couple years here. So in FY17, we are looking at under $400,000, and for FY27, we're anticipating about $1.2 million. One thing that is different this year for aid to agencies, this is the kind of demonstrating the shift in funding sources. We're moving towards loss like many other programs here at the city. So you can see funds for FY27 are anticipated to come from the general fund, the community development block grant portion. This is what I mentioned earlier with the annual action plan. We anticipated receiving $105,000 of CDBG, and that came in at $115,000. And then the last portion there would be from the local option sales tax. The caveat with that is that this is a target estimate and it's subject to change. If the lost revenues match our projections, this will not only allow the city to sustain that substantial funding increase to the program that was made in FY27. Between the CDBG and the loss, this would actually increase the budget another 14% above the FY26 level for that total of $1.2 million. The current program structure, before we get into allocations, I'll just jog your memory a little bit on this. So the aid to agencies program is currently separated into two separate portions. We have the legacy aid to agencies, and then the non-legacy. This was formerly called emerging aid to agencies. So legacy aid to agencies, we're in our second year of a 2-year funding cycle through United Way. We used a joint application with other funding entities in the community to try to make it a little bit easier on nonprofits, so they're filling out one application instead of 5 different applications. Legacy agencies awarded funds in FY26 will receive renewed allocations that are prorated based on that FY27 budget. And as I said earlier, the final allocations are contingent on how those lost dollars come in and subject to change. The non-legacy aid to agencies, this is the portion that we held a competitive funding round for this year. It followed the same timeline that I mentioned earlier with the CDBG funds. Applications opened in December, they were due in January. There's about $30,000 available, and we received 14 submissions totaling over $190,000. So well over the budget that we had available. The staff recommendations were provided to HCDC in March, and the commissioners developed their funding recommendations at that March 23rd meeting. There is no scoring rubric for the non-legacy funding round. Applicants are required to meet one of the community identified priorities that were agreed upon through our City Steps planning process, and those are homeless and shelter services, food insecurity, healthcare, child care and youth services, housing stability services, and transportation. So the commission considered our staff recommendations, and they also considered things like consistency with the priorities, impact, uniqueness of services, other city funding, and quality of submissions. So this is what we're looking at for the FY27 allocations. Here on top is the non-legacy funding. That's the competitive funding round the HCDC just worked through. They recommended Agape Cafe. This is operational support, made-to-order breakfast. I See Compassion is providing purchase of locally grown foods for the refugee community here in Iowa City. Immigrant Welcome Network of Johnson County, operational support for the Welcome House, which is serving newly arrived immigrants and refugees. Iowa City Sober Living, operational support for the Sober Living Home, and then Visiting Nurses Association. And they're providing homemaker services to keep people, elderly people and people with disabilities in their homes as long as possible. I also realized I just skipped Open Heartland. They're providing operational support for food insecurity initiatives. They're trying to address the gap left by some of the changes in the SNAP program. So ultimately, the commission decided to recommend $5,000 to each of these agencies for that, to serve as many agencies as possible. Switching gears a little bit to the legacy funding. In this chart, you can see where things started in FY25, the increase in FY26, and the blue column here is where we're at in FY27. The far column on the right is showing the percentage increase from FY25 to FY27. We're seeing a lot of support for the Aid to Agencies program, which is great. As previously mentioned, this loss portion for FY27, if it matches budget projections, this will result in an increase of about 14% for legacy allocations for FY27 compared to FY26. The next steps following this approval, staff will enter agreements with agencies to begin with a new fiscal year. Funds are dispersed to agencies in 2 payments, typically September and February. And then, as mentioned earlier, the current structure of the program, the non-legacy and the legacy aid to agency structure is going to end. For FY28, we're transitioning to a new process that was approved through City Steps 2030, and that will really open the competitive process to other nonprofits here in the community. Over the next, probably in the next month or so, we're planning to submit a memo for your packet that just kind of describes what that process is going to be like to refresh your memory and make sure everyone's on the same page. The joint funding application is anticipated to open this fall for FY28, so that process will be unfolding soon. If you have any questions, I can answer them. Otherwise, we're looking for approval of the allocations.
Here are no questions. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone from the public like to address this topic? I see no one in person or online. Council discussion. Great opportunities for our community to get some of this funding to help with the things that they're doing. So thanks to the commission and to the staff for all your work.
Agreed.
Roll call, please.
Burgess.
Yes.
Harmson.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes.
Wyline.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. All right. 9L, Transit and Equipment Facilities Replacement Project. Resolution approving, authorizing, and directing the mayor to execute and the city clerk to attest Amendment 1 to an agreement by and between the City of Iowa City and Newman Munson Architects, Inc. of Iowa City to provide architecture and engineering consultant services for the Transit and Equipment Facilities Replacement Project. I'm going to, could I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Burgess.
Second, Whiteline.
All right. And welcome, Darian. Long time.
Hello there. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Darian Nagelgam, Director of Transportation Services. I am very excited to have an opportunity tonight to update you on the transit facility project. As you have on the agenda tonight an amendment to the agreement with Newman Monson to continue design services for the transit and equipment facility replacement project, which is proposed for the southwest corner of the Public Works campus, or southeast corner of the Public Works campus at the intersection of McCollister Boulevard and Gilbert Street. So up on the monitor, you can see our current site to the north. That's our South Riverside Drive site. That's where we're currently located. And the proposed site is at Napoleon to the south. So it's about a mile as the crow flies, about 2 miles as we drive. I'm going to provide, I'm kind of the warm-up act. I'm just going to provide a high-level overview of some background information on the project. I'm going to turn it over to Jesse Bowman with Newman Monson Architects, and then we're going to wrap it up with Michelle Riedinger. She's the project manager for the city. So I will just give you a quick high-level. And I'm going to start with the need for this project. Both buildings are currently located, again, on Riverside Drive. They are both, their age and condition is really what we're trying to address here. The transit facility was built in 1984. The equipment facilities are even older. They're 1971 and 1978. So they're well surpassed their useful life in terms of age and condition, and they're really increasingly strained to meet today's needs, let alone our needs for the future. So the one bright spot in all this is that both of our facilities, both the equipment division's facilities and transit division facilities, they're aging out at the same time. So we have some real opportunities for efficiencies and cost savings. And so we have proceeded in such a way to have a joint project, and what we've developed is a 2-building concept. There will be one building that is transit operations and bus storage. There will be another building that is the shared repair and maintenance and equipment building. And the big benefit there is we currently have 2 different shops. So the plan is to combine them into one shop, which is going to create some really great efficiencies for us going forward. The replacement facilities will also be designed, of course, to support a full conversion to low and no emission transit fleets, and that includes electric. That will also include hybrid diesel, and that will support electrification of the rest of our fleet as we begin that transition. And as you all know, this project was originally intended to have 4 electric buses and charging equipment within the scope of the project. And to help ensure that the $19 million grant, which is about half of the budget, to help ensure that that funding was secure, we had to pivot from that scope. So instead of launching this building with electric buses, we're going to be launching with diesel hybrid buses, still more efficient than our diesel buses by about 25%, and we're happy that we're still going to have a low and no emission fleet. But the building will be purpose-built for a conversion in the future, meaning we're going to make sure we have the power there, we have the space for the chargers, we have the equipment that we need, we have the infrastructure that can support that transition. Because when the tides change in the future, we want to be ready to hit the ground running. And in about 4 or 5 years, we'll start to have another round of buses that will qualify based on age and condition for fleets. So we're hoping that that could be the time where we can begin or continue our transition in earnest. Again, in terms of that $19 million federal grant, we went through a lengthy secondary review process. We received the initial notice in 2023. Over the last year, there's been a secondary review. In March, we did receive confirmation in writing that $19 million is secure, and again, that's about half the project budget, so that was a huge relief for us. We're within weeks of having a signed agreement with the federal government, which I will be able to sleep at night again once we get to that step. And on April April 8th, we also achieved another great milestone for the project, which is we passed the federal environmental review for the proposed property. And what that means is we got the green light, so we can move past the 30% design, which is where we're at today. And before I transition over to Jesse, this is just a high aerial view of the project site. So the grassy area south of the Public Works building will all be included, and Jesse's going to show some more diagrams. Those Quonset huts, the rounded top buildings, those won't be on the site. So we'll be building 2 buildings that will face south, Terry Trueblood. And I'm going to turn it over to Jesse to walk through the rest of the presentation.
Great. And when I said long time, I meant long time coming. Welcome.
Welcome. Give me 1 second here while I get a laser pointer out, just in case I need
Great.
that. But I would like to thank the council again for allowing us to give a project update tonight. My name is Jesse Bowman. I'm the project manager with Newman Munson Architects. Public works facilities are essential to the city. They support systems, equipment, and personnel that keep the city operating smoothly and reliably every day. And we're truly honored to be a part of that and working with your dedicated team and leaders. Oh, that's because I got to click that, don't I? There we go. Sorry. The blue dot on the timeline really represents where we are today. Tonight, we're going to briefly go back and look at the previous efforts provided to provide you context before we dive into the transit repair facility. In 2015, Iowa City created a visionary master plan to prepare the future public works project and improvements. This comprehensive master plan engaged your staff, previous council members, reviewed existing conditions, and looked at city growth. The result was a 140-page document that to this day is informing the next phase. A major component of this work is to analyze the disconnected public works sites throughout the entire city. And it revealed that consolidating these plans on a shared public works campus would provide efficiencies by co-locating staff, reducing commute times, and providing more effective workplaces for these vital city services. The South District plan was also being developed, and it helped inform this master plan for the public works site. The city saw the master plan as an opportunity to enhance the southern gateway of Iowa City while respecting the adjacent properties, parks, and trails. The preferred result identified included buildings to help shield the surrounding neighborhoods from yard activities and sounds, creating a civic presence at the corner of McCollister and Gilbert, and allow for future growth and expansion by purchase of a corner lot. The first phase of this plan was to add a new public works building, which was completed in 2019. The first phase structure consolidated streets, traffic, and water distribution. The project consisted of vehicle storage, shops, maintenance material storage, and wash bays. By providing well-daylit spaces using durable materials and balancing sustainable efforts with construction cost, this project exemplifies the city's commitment to achieving high-functioning, adaptable, economical, and future-ready buildings. The resilient structure serves as a precedent for other projects of this type across the Midwest. Through Iowa City's investment and careful consideration from staff, the project has been recognized locally, regionally, and nationally by your peers. The city truly led the way on what can be achieved, helping others define best practices, and served as a platform to tell Iowa City's story to other communities. Many of the measures from the Phase 1 project are being considered and enhanced upon in this new facility. This includes energy modeling from conceptual masses to final design, reviewing building envelope options and daylighting, developing and tracking LEED rating system credits, understanding and responding to the site, protecting ecology around the riverfront, preparing for future gray water needs, studying environmental health and employee well-being concerns, preparing structures for future PV, creating spaces that promote equity and enhance employee retention, and being a good steward of our resources by reducing inputs, building maintenance, and CO2 production. At the start of this transit and fleet maintenance project, we did some reassessing. We looked at your current facilities, we compiled staff questionnaires, and reassessed the programmatic needs. Here are some images of the existing facility. We discovered failing bus wash equipment, poorly daylit spaces, lack of storage, and dated furnishings and equipment. The existing transit site is on an old landfill. The ground is settling around the building. To compensate, annual asphalt patching is required to ensure buses have adequate slope to enter into the building. Here's Mark kind of pointing that out. You can see it's basically at his knee. But in some areas, the estimated asphalt is 10 to 15 feet deep. This also creates a persistent ponding of water. Potholes and uneven surfaces are common, causing hazards for vehicles and pedestrians. Your equipment and repair facilities suffer from many of the same issues. In addition, these spaces lack adequate clearances, as you can see here with the ladder truck, lack modern-day ventilation in some of the bays, and are limited bay utilization due to flows, bay placement, and the double parking scenario happening within the building. Employee amenities are also dated and at the end of their useful service. They have limited access to daylight and adequate HVAC systems. Storage areas are poorly lit, and fluid distribution systems are inefficient and remote. So that brings us to today. Today we're talking about updating the master plan and developing and being developed and incorporating lessons learned from past experiences. Insights gained from facility tours, anticipated future adaptations such as the bus electrification. The transit building is, I clicked that, but it did not move, so. The transit building here is shown in green and the repair facility in yellow. 1A is a future addition and 2A is also a future addition. The transit building is located on the west side of the site. This placement provides the building with views of Terry Trueblood Recreation Area, and by rotating the building, and an expansion area to the north. And by rotating this building, we create a large central area for downline ready line. And downline ready line is where vehicles are temporarily put when they're waiting for maintenance or to be picked up after a service. This zone is also behind a security fence and can be screened from McAllister Boulevard. The fleet maintenance building is located on the east side. This location serves as a barrier to shield pedestrians, cyclists, and nearby residents from back-of-yard activities. It's situated immediately south of the Public Works facility, allowing for easy access and movement of vehicles to and from those buildings, enhancing your maintenance. It also will feature design with architectural elements that break up the building scale similar to the Public Works site. This axon view, facing northwest, presents initial concepts for unifying the design between the two buildings while respecting Phase 1 design of Public Works building located on the north. The current transportation operation plan consists of an administrative zone to the south, shown here in blue, bus storage to the north in the light green, and common areas, and a fuel wash zone in between them, so that this is similar to the size and layout of your existing wash and fuel system in the existing building. The configuration provides the following outcomes: better workflows for bus drivers and dispatch, larger spaces for training employees and education, common areas to promote camaraderie, modernized work environments, and amenities like a fitness room to attract and retain employees. To future ready this building, we'll also be thinking about the fleet, and we'll incorporate pathways for installation later, as Darian mentioned. This is a conceptual rendering of the transit building. The lower volume is that office environment with those great views to Terry Trueblood, and the higher volume is basically where the bus storage and other support areas are. The current facility maintenance plan consists of administrative offices, shared break rooms, shared locker rooms, a shared office work zone in the southwest corner, or this zone right in here. Shared parts storage and loading zone are on the southeast corner, shown in this big gray box. And just immediately north of that are the repair bays for transit and equipment. On the very north, we have a chassis bay, a weld bay, and that's where our new lubrication and distribution system will also be. This arrangement provides the following outcomes: a consolidated parts and storage facility for efficiency, modern equipment to enhance and facilitate repairs, repair bays with adequate clearance to enhance safety and efficiency, repair bays with multiple access points to promote higher utilization. So essentially, we can access a bay from the outside or this internal drive aisle. Break rooms and shared facilities to support camaraderie. Specialty shops and storage areas to facilitate cost-effective purchasing. Modernized work environments and amenities to attract and retain employees. This is a conceptual rendering of the repair building. The building's location establishes the corner on the Public Works campus, provides screening from the yard operations, and provides spatial relief for trail users by being set back off the immediate intersection along McAllister and Gilbert. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle to finish this out.
All right. Welcome.
Good evening. Michelle Reedinger, Senior Facilities Design and Construction Manager with the Engineering Division. We wanted to close out the presentation with a comparison of the building size and a high-level schedule overview. This shows a rough comparison of the existing equipment and transit facilities with the proposed new transit storage and fleet maintenance buildings shown on the right. The green represents transit staff space, bus storage, and bus wash. These proportions of the current transit facility are roughly 25,920 square feet. The proposed building is approximately 44,000 square feet, which is an approximately 70% increase in space for those uses. The yellowish orange represents the fleet maintenance spaces for equipment and transit. Between the two buildings, the current facility totals about 30,070 square feet. The proposed building is approximately 65,000 square feet, which is a roughly 116% increase in space for the spaces for these uses. There are a couple of things that contribute to the significant jump in square footage, in addition to generally just enlarging some of the bays and making sure that that parts space and some of the other shared spaces are sized for projected growth for the next approximately 20 years. The proposed building, as Jesse mentioned, includes a designated chassis wash bay, which neither division currently has. This enables them to wash down some of the undersides of the vehicles before conducting maintenance on those vehicles. It also provides a larger weld bay that includes a designated space where vehicles could be pulled in and welding could be conducted, which again, neither facility currently has. And then, as Jesse mentioned, the internal circulation space, in addition to providing kind of two access to the bays, it also provides the ability to go from the chassis wash and weld bays interior, and especially with that chassis wash in the winter, can help reduce ice and whatnot that would be tracked from the wash bay going into the maintenance bays. Now, to close out with a brief schedule overview, the schematic design phase has extended a little bit longer than we originally anticipated, in part because of some delays with federal oversight and a reduced staffing at the regional FTA office. As has been mentioned, we're currently wrapping up 30% design. If the amendment is approved tonight, design would continue over the next approximately year. Currently, we anticipate bidding this project in late 2027, with construction anticipated to start in late 27 or early 28, depending on when the bidding window falls and weather conditions. At this time, we currently anticipate moving into the buildings in mid to late 2030. That concludes. We'll take any questions.
Beautiful building. I do have one question, because I know when we got the electric buses, the door was a little bit of a challenge. And I'm sure we've addressed that, but have we considered any time, like, will there ever be any double deckers a part of our fleet?
I don't think we're built for that kind of height. But I think we are building with variable roof heights of buses in mind because, you know, these things were not imagined when, in 1984, when we constructed our current facility, and we were limited in both in terms of the scope, the number of companies that provided electric buses, but certainly in the height. That was a limiting factor for us. So that's something that we've definitely taken into consideration with the height of the new doors.
Great, thanks.
Just to add, the door is at 14 feet, which is like close to an overpass, so
Okay.
most vehicles can pass through underneath it.
Perfect, perfect. Awesome. All right, hearing no other questions. Anyone from the public like to address this topic? See no one in person or online. Council discussion. Long time coming.
Very exciting.
Yeah, this is really good, and it's good to hear that able to navigate the variable federal winds quite well and thinking ahead to the future, and I really appreciate all of that.
We're sure this one isn't going to sink, right? Okay, just making sure.
And thanks to staff and their consistency at going after the,
Yes.
federal funds.
Yeah.
Many rounds. So thanks for being consistent and making the claim. So excited for this opportunity, and thanks for all the folks involved in making this next steps possible. Roll call, please.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson.
Yes.
Sala,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Wyline.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. All right. We're on to item number 10, which is council appointments. And we have, I believe, like 8 different appointments. So we'll do them each individually. So we'll go with 10A, which is Airport Commission. There are 2 vacancies to fill, 4-year terms, July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2030. And just want to,
Looks like we have 2 applicants for 2 vacancies.
yep, and, yeah.
That one's easy.
Yes.
And they were good applicants.
Yep. Good with them.
All right. I did want to just make note that they are currently serving some terms that were not, that were full terms, but there were no other applicants.
Yes.
So,
And they are interested to return back, so.
absolutely.
That helps.
Yep. All right. So could I get a motion to appoint Warren Bishop and Judith Fole for the Airport Commission?
So move to appointment.
Second, Harmson.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Could I get a motion to accept correspondence?
So moved, Burgess.
Second, Wyline.
Moved by Burgess, seconded by Wyline. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We're on to item number 10B, which is the Historic Preservation Commission at large. There are 2 vacancies for at-large representative to fill 3-year terms, July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2029. And we do have 4 folks here with 1 person serving a current term, a full term.
And the human right,
Sure. I'd like to.
which one?
This is the Historic Preservation
Oh,
Commission at large.
I'd like to throw out 2 names. Andrew Lewis, who is serving the first term, and Hannah Snyder.
Those were the 2 I had as well.
That's easy.
Okay.
Those are the
All
2
right.
I had.
All right, could I get a motion to appoint Andrew Lewis and Hannah Snyder to the Historic Preservation Commission at large?
So moved, Harmson.
Second, Wyline.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 10C, Historic Preservation Commission Longfellow One vacancy for a Longfellow representative to fill a 3-year term, July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029. And there is only one applicant, Adam Clore.
Yep, looks
Yeah.
good.
All right. Could I get a motion to appoint Adam Clore to the Historic Preservation Commission Longfellow?
So moved, Wyline.
Second, Burgess.
All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, motion passes 5-0. 10D, Historic Preservation Commission North Side. One vacancy for a North Side representative to fill a 3-year term, July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029. And again, we have one person that is actually serving a current term.
Yeah.
Deanne?
since there
Yeah.
is no one.
Deanne Toman,
Yep. I'd move appointment.
a move by Burgess.
Second, Wyline.
All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, motion passes 7-0. And we are on to 10E, Housing and Community Development Commission. Two vacancies to fill 3-year terms, July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029. And we do have 5 applicants.
I want to throw one name, Nicholas Bargrin.
I had that name as well, and I'd also add to that Sarah Murray, also noting, thanking Kyle Vogel, who's finishing up his second. Right.
Sarah is my second choice too.
Yeah, okay, good, just good.
I had Sarah, and we have an applicant who, Michael Oliphant, who I believe, with the purpose of HCDC, having someone with the lived experience of being homeless and exiting homelessness, I think is could be a very very good perspective to have on a 7-person commission like HCDC. So that's who I had. But like I said, there's no bad applicants here.
Yep. I had Nicholas as well as Sarah
Yeah.
as my options.
Yeah, I'm good with Sarah was my top choice, and I think I had Raimundo as my second.
Okay.
So we have 4 for Sarah.
3.
3.
Oh,
No,
Four,
did
four.
4.
we have 4 for Sarah.
5 maybe.
5?
5 maybe. yes.
5 actually.
So that's an easy
Well,
one.
yeah,
5 for
well,
Sarah.
5 for Sarah, but we don't have a majority yet for
We have 3.
We have 3.
I have 3
Nicholas.
for Nicholas.
Yeah,
3 for Nicholas.
you and I and
Yep.
Sean.
I would so move for Sarah Murray and Nicholas Bargren. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly.
Okay.
Second.
Moved by Harmson, seconded by Salah. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 10F, Parks and Recreation Commission. One vacancy to fill an unexpired term upon appointment through December 30th, 2020, December 31st, 2027. And there are 6 applicants here.
I like Sabrina James Voorhees.
And I would throw out as well for consideration, and I'm gonna, hopefully I don't murder this name, Jean Chrischiles? Is that? Any idea if that's, if I'm even close? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Any other nominations?
Sabrina was on my list of as well.
And we did have some great opportunities of applicants here, and I can support Sabrina.
Yeah, I do too.
Good enough.
Okay. Can I get a motion to appoint Sabrina James Verhez, Voorhees?
Voorhees.
Voorhees to the Parks and Recreation Commission?
So moved. Burgess.
Second, Wyline.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 10G is Planning and Zoning Commission. 2 vacancies to fill 5-year terms, July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2031. And we have, so we want to fill 2 vacancies. We have 6 folks. We do have 2 folks with unexpired terms that have applied for
I think they were
reappointment.
both first terms, too, so I would throw those, to get us going, I'd throw those 2 names out, Colette Atkins and Stephen Miller, although the other applicants, there were some other good ones in there as well.
Yeah, there's lots of very good applicants, and it might seem like us up here being a little bit like, oh yeah, this person, I guess, but I can speak for myself, but I think for other counselors as well, we look at these and think
How
about
long they
them.
been on
You know,
board?
like, but up here it might not reflect that. But I had written down Angie Smith. Angie's, yeah.
I had Colette Atkins and Angie Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I have Angie Smith too, but the second one is, I can't pronounce the last name, Atkins.
Colette?
For the people who are currently, they serve 1 term, 2 term, full term, half term?
No, they're unexpired term, so they haven't served a full term. And
We
this,
used to give people, if they don't finish a full term,
Let me double check.
give them like a full term. We done that on the past, you know.
yeah, and this commission, I believe, is a 6-year term,
Oh, really? 6 years?
5.
5-year term.
Okay, 5 years, and you mean like they did like 3 or something like that?
Yeah, I want to say, I remember Colette when,
Yeah, it was fairly recently, I
Yeah.
feel like.
It looks like from the attendance record that Colette Atkins has only been on since maybe the beginning of this year.
Yeah, it's fairly
I
recent.
think we should give them a full term.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Miller's application said he started in 2024.
Then I think maybe we can reappoint them.
I lean that way, too.
yeah. I'm comfortable reappointing
Even though I
both
have
of
another
them.
two, but I think.
I'm comfortable with
we
that.
done
Yeah,
this before.
I didn't realize that
Yeah.
that was the case, unfortunately.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Could I get a motion to appoint Colette Atkins and Stephen Miller to
So
the
moved.
Planning and Zoning Commission?
I move.
Second.
Moved by Salas, seconded by Burgess. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We're on to 10H, Public Art Advisory Committee. 1 vacancy for an at-large representative to fill a 3-year term, July 1st, 2026 through June 30th. All right.
That's it?
I thought Anita Young had an interesting application.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And they're currently serving a full first term.
And serving as chair.
They serve already full term.
Yeah, they did serve a full term.
I think so.
And there are other applicants.
Yeah.
But want to get, I heard Anita Young.
Which one?
Any other nominations? Here are no other nominations. Could I get a motion to appoint Anita Young to the Public Art Advisory Committee?
So moved, Burgess.
Second, Saleh.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 11 is announcements of vacancies new. 11A, Human Rights Commission, 1 vacancy to fill unexpired term upon appointment through December 31st, 2028. Applications must be received by 5 p.m. Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. Could I get a motion to accept correspondence?
So moved, Wyline.
Second.
Moved by Wyline, seconded by Burgess. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 12 is announcements of vacancies previous. 12A, we have Climate Action Commission. One vacancy to fill an unexpired term. Applications must be received by 5 p.m. Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. Airport Zoning Board of Adjustment. One vacancy to fill a 5-year term. Airport Zoning Board of Adjustment. One vacancy to fill a 5-year term. Board of Appeals, one vacancy for a licensed electrician to fill a 5-year term. Board of Appeals, one vacancy for HVAC professional to fill an unexpired term. Historic Preservation Commission, one vacancy for a Brown Street representative to fill a 3-year term. Historic Preservation Commission, one vacancy for a Jefferson Street representative to fill a 3-year term. Historic Preservation Commission, one vacancy for a Woolon Avenue representative to fill a 3-year term. Vacancies will remain open until filled. Item number 13 is City Council information.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to issue a thank you to Cedar Rapids Gazette reporter Megan Woolard. As many of you know, I got my start in my professional world covering many, many city council meetings and sitting at tables very like that in the back of the room. And it was also one at that point in my life, which would be hard to believe seeing where I am now. It was often very awkward when the people I was covering would acknowledge me because we had to stay out of the story, so I apologize. But Megan, this is her last meeting with us, and so I wanted to acknowledge the fact how much I appreciate seeing a good person dedicated to local journalism sitting back and watching us and carrying the things that happen in these chambers out to the public. And in general, that's all very good in this time when journalism and local journalism is under attack from a gazillion different directions. Just wanted to say thank you. I think I and probably the rest of us are gonna miss seeing you back there. So,
yes,
Thank you.
All right, hearing nothing else, we are moving on to, that's, someone gave that to council. We are moving on to item number 14, report on items from city staff, city manager's office,
Not tonight.
city attorney,
No, thank you.
city clerk,
I
office.
just want to let you know that Kelly will be out for the rest of the week, so if you need anything, I'll try my best to help you.
And I believe she's at the city clerk
Conference.
yes. Awesome. Wishing her the best. All right, we're at item number 15. Could I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved. Second.
All right, moved by Salah, seconded by Wyline. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. 5-0.
5-0.